coming from you, the certified health nut, the wellness guy for what, 20 something years now?
Yep. Been certified health nut for 20 years and I've been studying it for 35.
35 years, man. It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time. And this is a long time coming. I've been trying to get your ass in my studio for so long now.
Yeah.
I've been texting
How old
back
are
and
you?
forth. I'm 32. I'll be 33 in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Since before you were 32. Because how old are you? You don't say.
You're 59 this year.
59?
I'll be 60 at the end of the year.
No shit.
Yep.
Yeah, and you like look like, aside from just the gray, which, I mean, you could say this is just a touch of gray. You wouldn't use synthetic shit like that. But aside from the gray, you look like you're maybe a couple of years older than me.
Okay.
I have a question. Did you go through a period when you had your kids when they were like really young, like young where they require a lot of attention and energy, that you like aged quite a bit, and then once they got a little bit older and were more independent, aged less?
Well, 100%. And
okay, that makes me feel better. I asked that for a very specific reason.
Well, not only that, but I was exposed to black mold exposure. And actually, we thought the premature aging and the exhaustion was just based on the children. Mm-hmm. But the house we moved into just before my daughter was born had Aspergillus, penicillium, and Strachobacterus in it.
What type of house was it? Was it traditional, like
beautiful penthouse overlooking the Pacific Ocean? And if you know about,
but was it a superhuman environment? Is what I'm saying.
No.
This
was 2010 and 2013. I didn't know half the things I know now. And if you've ever lived on the coast in Los Angeles or anywhere that's coveted in California, you know that you're lucky to get a apartment, much less the exact one that you want, especially because Google had moved into my neighborhood right at that time and rent started changing. This building, I think it was built in the 70s. It was built in the 70s, but it got hit by the Northridge earthquake in 94. And I think it got condemned, rebuilt. And then there was flooding of the sprinkler system. I started to ask questions, and then friends with another girl. Towards the end, I found out she had mushrooms growing in her apartment down on a lower floor. And then I asked my neighbor in the penthouse, because I moved into the thing in the summer. Mm-hmm. It's hot. It's painted white. Everything looks clean. You don't suspect anything. And it was just a series of, hey, I think there's some kind of allergens, like what's in the carpet, and my ex-wife, she got hit first, and then it was a slow progression of complete chronic fatigue.
Yeah. So the reason I brought up the location that it was in, I was going to ask a series of questions after that, though, because in virtually all modern homes, in modern apartments, modern condos, they're built with so many toxic glues, formaldehyde, in drywall, the series of chemicals in them, in vinyl flooring, the series of chemicals in those, mm-hmm. the toxic glues that are used, as I said. The issue is, as I've come to understand it, is not the mold specifically, because you come across those same types of molds in a normal, natural environment, mm-hmm. and it's not going to cause any issues. It's that the mold is bioremediating toxic building materials mm-hmm. and leaching that into the environment, and then mm-hmm. possibly some like mycotoxins that are produced with that. But it's like it's a testament to how we just build haphazard, half-ass, cheap homes nowadays, mm-hmm. relative to how I imagine we built in the past using stone masonry primarily.
Yes, I concur with that, as well as I had 5 smart meters on my living room wall.
There you go, man.
At the same time. So it was exacerbated by that, as well as poor building materials. And yeah, as Paul Chek likes to say, fungus and parasites are Mother Nature's garbage cleaners.
Right. Right, exactly. Yeah. You already know this. We're just saying it for the audience. We're going to get into a lot of fun stuff today. A lot of fun, but very important stuff. I don't know what to title this episode yet, but it's like the State of the Union. You're the certified health nut. You've been doing this for quite a long time, longer than I've been alive, which is wild. So you've been doing this for forever. But the first thing, you wanted me to remind you of a PSA that you wanted to put out. I'm just going to quote your text and then you just let you riff on it. You texted me just before you arrived here. Remind me to do a public service announcement when I start on the LAS. What do you mean by LAS?
Oh God, that must be a typo. I
Okay.
speak into my
Got it. All good. On the neurotoxic perfumes, deodorants, and all the shit you don't need in locker rooms, Airbnb, Uber, etc. Ask for a hypoallergenic room or yeah, riff, please.
Yes. So this is a public service announcement to all the men out there. If you're going to the gym, the phthalates, the neurotoxins in perfume, deodorant, you don't need any of that shit whatsoever. And so clean up your diet, clean up your lifestyle, and stop stinking like a pig. Number one. Number two, if you're in the locker room, you're poisoning someone like me. And literally, I'm fucking pissed, right? So stop poisoning other people with your chemicals, your phthalates, your neurotoxins. You're just utter fragrance and garbage. And stop using new and improved Tide. It smells like crap and it makes other people sick, literally. And so, and then, women, it goes for the same thing. And if you own an Airbnb or you're an Uber driver, and I don't know if you can even put a cap on this because Uber, I don't drive in Ubers. I don't stay in Airbnbs. When I call up a hotel, I say, can I please get a hypoallergenic room? Right. And so the more that, and I think you can request this on Uber and I think you can request it on Airbnb. And there are like higher price point Airbnbs if you are in a natural environment. You can advertise that. And I don't know any one of us that's going to have an Airbnb and not put clean materials in there. For example, I was staying with Cal and his place was not an Airbnb by any stretch of the means. However, the brother put some linen sheets in there. I mean, it was pure, pristine, no chemicals. It was amazing to be in that size of a mansion and just saltwater pool.
Dude, that pool, man. I've talked about that pool with like 10 different people at this point.
Dude, saltwater pool and just clean environment. Oh, it was magic. So thank you, Cal Callahan, for
shout out to Cal
for providing that atmosphere. And just, every bedroom had linen sheets in it. I was very, very impressed without the new and improved Tide smell. And let me tell you guys, an overweight body is a stressed body. And if you have elevated cortisol directly related to toxic poisoning from chemicals, it's going to affect your endocrine system on a huge level. And so elevated chronic cortisol creates inflammation. Inflammation creates disease. But an overweight body is a stress body. So if you're trying to lose weight at all, you want to lower your stress levels and look no further than the chemicals that you are poisoning yourself with in your environment and also what's in your refrigerator and what you're eating, seed oils, etc. I know you got an organic audience, and hopefully that fragrance and phthalates penetrates some guys even deeper because it's up to us if we're gonna change the world.
Amen.
I'm not waiting for any man to come. I was listening to your podcast this morning. I'm not waiting for any man to come and save us. No one's coming to save us. It's up to us as individuals, all of us.
Amen. Well said. Well said. It's wild to me that I used to wear perfumes and
me too, man.
Well, no, it's just like, it's wild though, when you come across synthetic fragrances, like how disruptive and off-putting, and it almost makes you gag. And to think that that used to be the norm for me. You know what I mean? It's like, for example, if I eat a food that is super, super high inflammatory, toxic, I feel like absolute garbage. And it just makes me wonder, did I always used to feel like that? Because like, I don't remember feeling like that when I was young, and maybe it was because I was young, I had a higher metabolism, et cetera, et cetera. But it's just wild to like put yourself back in those same contexts. And I rarely do that, if ever. But when I do, it just is like so alarming to my system,
Well, that's how I started out in this whole health crusade, is getting my digestion on point. I was a Versace model in Milan 35 years ago. and I was bloating and having issues. I'm actually traveling right now. I'm in Texas, and before I came out to that event at Cal's place, I was staying with a friend of mine, and the wife offered me some baked cookies, and I know they're organic purity across the board, but it had millet in it, and my body doesn't like any kind of gluten or grain or anything. And sure enough, I had it with a big chunk of butter on it, thinking it would just blend in no problem. And I literally got a gluten hangover for like 3 or 4 days.
Wild. One thing that I've been playing around with in my mind, and I've had a few friends that have done this and resolved any like food issues that they have, is the belief about something.
Mm-hmm.
Just what's your general opinion, take on our foundational beliefs as it pertains to the results related to that belief?
Well, I definitely think that the future is mind over matter. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I do believe that that can be achieved. And I think if you're hungry enough, you're in a position where you can override. I think that is possible. Gluten right now hammers me, or whatever inflamed me over this past week.
Did you have that thought though, as you're eating it, like, oh, this is going to be a little bit?
No, I didn't.
Interesting.
Because I
That's
thought,
interesting.
okay, this person makes only organic ingredients.
Mhm.
I can handle a cookie.
Mhm.
I don't typically eat cookies. Plus, I usually lock up all my choices for what I purchase and what I buy as for farmer direct, etc. I can usually feel something that's not right with my system, but I'm also sleeping in someone else's bed, etc. I wasn't exercising the same. I was waking up at different hours, going to sleep at different hours, staying up past my bedtime type of thing. So I was a little bit out of my element. A couple of days of exercise and a couple of ice baths, and I corrected myself right away. I just don't like feeling out of sorts, especially when I travel.
Mhm.
And it's not uncommon as well. But yes, the final frontier is mind over matter. And I think the environment's also poisoned. We poison the food supply. We poison the environment. Navigating that terrain. I mean, look, I'm healthy. This is my version of living inside the environment. We're part of the environment. There is no separation.
Amen.
So if I'm 60 this year and I'm not your average statistic, 75% of the American people are obese or overweight. 50% have chronic disease. Most people are inflamed to the gills. And so if I'm not matched with the statistics, then obviously something I'm doing is working out better than the average.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're a testament to your lifestyle over the last 35 years. So you started exploring, I just want to like go into your journey a little bit more to add some more context. So you started exploring natural health approaches because you were bloating as a model. So it's impacting your pockets essentially at this point.
Of course, yeah, that's a good point. Economically affecting me, and that motivated me as a young man that was in an industry based on my aesthetics to look and feel my best. And that's what drove me to it. And then one thing led to another, and I started studying nutrition, herbal medicine, fasting, juice cleansing, and I would get immediate results. I'd come back to the States, I'd buy a juicer, I'd start juicing, eating at health food stores, and I instantly got results. And it vacillated because I had a bit of a rock star phase, and that industry is rife with drugs and alcohol. So I partied my ass off. I lived I lived like a rock star, traveling Tokyo, London, Paris, New York, Miami. Miami, that was a party in the 90s. And look, I loved it. I got no regrets, but I was off the deep end. And people, like, if you were my brother back then, you'd be like, Troy. Even if you were drinking with me, you'd be like, Troy, like, what are you doing with your life? You're getting hammered too much. Like, you're just wasting your potential. And I heard that hundreds of times. And then eventually I quit and I found Vipassana meditation.
How did you stumble upon that?
Well, it took me about 4.5 years to sober up. And the AA rooms, although it helped me understand step 11, which is sought through prayer and meditation, you connected with God and saw it a better way, whatever step 11 is. I don't mean to bastardize it, but the people that talked about step 11 had a certain je ne sais quoi. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then I started meditating and I instantly got results. And then I was waiting tables and moving on a career in acting from modeling. And I knew I couldn't build a new career being a drunk. And so I started to sober up, and, it took a while in and out of partying. And it was Vipassana meditation. Some waiter, I was waiting tables in LA, and he turned me on to Vipassana. This was before the internet. So he had to contact them, get a packet mailed to me. And I remember reading the brochure. It's on the website now. And it put me in tears. The root defilements of our issues are in the mind, and basically all is mind. And our subconscious and unconscious mind is attached to the sensations of the body and the respiration. So have you said a Vipassana course?
I've not, but I'm familiar with it. Like, I know people who describe the subconscious mind being synonymous with the body.
Yeah, well, mind is an embodied process. This is what I teach my students. And so we are all mind, the sum total of our ideas. So when people argue with me on the internet, I'm like, well, how's that working out for you? Because and everybody's all doped up on blood tests and DNA tests. And while they may have applicability sometime, most people can use the mirror, right? Or the toilet bowl. It's like, how do you like the person in the mirror that you're seeing? Do you like the way you look and feel? So Vipassana is what probably healed me the most. Yes, AA and the 12-step program kind of got me in that direction, but I saw more dysfunction in that, especially when you're looking at imbalances and you're looking at coffee addiction and creamer and sugar and commercial cigarettes and just going in and out of addiction. Like, they're not really healing it to the core. And so, but step 11 I got from AA, and that really helped me. And I sat 11 Vipassana courses in a span of about 6 years, and I was sitting 2 hours a day. And that is one of the main components that helped heal me from whatever I was running from.
What's the longest one you've done? Like, have you done a Vipassana retreat where you're like 9 to 10 days without speaking?
Yeah. I've done 11 of those.
You literally 11 of those specifically. Wow.
A couple of them I served, but even when I was serving, I was meditating for 6 to 8 hours a day.
I think especially now in modernity, where people, the moment they get bored, the moment they sit with themselves for more than 2 seconds, they immediately pick up their devices. I think everyone should have to do that.
Yes, and I'm due for one. I haven't sat one in quite a while. And actually, I've vacillated towards, there was a point when I was getting stressed out if I didn't sit 2 hours a day. And so I decided to let it go and just live it. Right. I can feel my shoes wrapped around my feet right now. I can feel my breath. And so how connected can I be throughout the day? And so, however, I've had a strong desire to go back, and I will sit one probably within the next year or so. It's a huge commitment. 10, 12 days. If you look at driving up and driving back, it's about 12 days.
When you did your first one, though, what was the biggest challenge to sitting for 9 to 10 days, essentially most of the day in meditation like that, silent?
Well, I think it was, day 5 or 6, my femur dislocated or popped from my hip, right? I had massive amounts of pain. One guy went up to the teacher one night and he says, it's like a 600-pound gorilla on my back, And I also talked to some of the older people that were there, because they'll let you sit in a chair or sit against the wall. And they told me the people that went against the wall and sat in a chair, it didn't help.
Oh, so it was more about like body-based issues than it was the mind at this point.
Yeah, well, mind is an embodied process.
For sure.
It's unwinding of the body and mind.
Yeah,
ultimately.
Makes sense. Yeah, because the reason I asked that is I would like presuppose, and was also people I've talked to that have done this, and referring back to my own experience, I've not done this, but I've done a extended water fast where I was by myself virtually the whole time, which is just another form of just having to face yourself, eliminating the noise elsewhere, is having to face one's own traumatic experiences or stuff that they've done to other people and like wrestle with those because you can't escape it because you're just sitting there with you and yourself the whole time. But it makes sense that it would present some, body-based issues, body-based expressions that are painful as well.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because it would seem more like a psychedelic experience that you'd remember maybe something, you've harmed someone, and then you'd have to wrestle with that in the moment. Maybe if it's ayahuasca, you have to puke or something like that. With Vipassana, it's very arduous and it's long going. And maybe you may get hung up on thoughts, but it's definitely going to come out of the body. You're gonna go through it more of a systematic. I recommend if you're going to drink ayahuasca or if you want to go down the psychedelic exploration road to start with Vipassana, because that's going to give you spiritual ballast to go to the depths that you want to go with ayahuasca or ibogaine or hero journey of mushrooms. Because what I see in today's society is most people are just going from one experience to the next, one party to the next, and they're not really doing the work. And the psychedelics are not for that. That's going to get you in more psychological trouble, in my humble opinion, than it is going to give you spiritual insights that you're then going to integrate and embody. My journeys in 2006 in the Amazon rainforest with ayahuasca, I'm still integrating into my life. And this is almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like people are, this is pretty
actually, it is 20 years ago. I went June of, it's 19 years. That's right.
Okay. 19 years. I mean, that's still quite a while either way, but I feel like what you're getting at is a lot of people who are engaging with these substances are almost mistaking that as an act of doing the work and looking at it as a quick fix rather than that is revealing the work that needs to be done. Would you agree with that?
Yes. I liken it to, I particularly got visions of the future. And if I go in the direction of those visions, then what comes up is my own issues, my own shadow, my own stumbling blocks, financial. I mean, I didn't start my entrepreneurial journey until about that time when I went down there. And to go through whatever was blocking me, and I still am, the entrepreneurial journey, I do believe, is a very powerful spiritual path. To create something from nothing and to keep going. The same thing can be said with a family.
Dude.
Am I right?
100%. Yeah. And put both of them together. Yeah.
So this is, the powerful journey. And if you pony up as a man and go, I'm responsible for the sum total of my creations via my thoughts, my behaviors, etc., then you keep looking in the mirror and what else can I change? What else can I adjust? Big journey that I had when I started to crack the code for as an entrepreneur, and I started making more abundance, more money, is people started stealing from me, and
financially stealing from you, or like stealing ideas, or both?
Just everything,
all of it. Got it.
I was in a men's group. Some guy figured he could just come along and poach it or start coaching, or I'm like, and I run a great circle, right? Because it's not about me, right? It's about the guy that's going through it, and then you see in today's world. Then the coaches want to coach the coaches. And I like the AA principle, right? Like there's just no cross talking, but you direct it to the next person. And so, that way it doesn't turn into a shit show. And of course, in one particular situation it did. And then I had a lawsuit from someone who tried to lay claim and forge signatures. And and I've had contracts and I've not had contracts, and I've had people not own up to the contract or quit their side of it. I mean, what are you going to do? Sue that? You know, and the court system is
so messy.
The court system's the court system.
Right.
Right. And I did fight quite a bit of it with some common law. You win some, you lose some. Right. And so I buried this one attorney, did a bar grievance on her and just pummeled her. And she told the other person, like, these affidavits don't mean anything. Well, you quit in the end.
Clearly, it means something.
Oh, you chip away at them.
Right.
I mean, by all means, and you let these attorneys know that you're not going to fuck around.
Yeah.
And so, and then I was able to get another piece of paper asset, one that you're fully aware of, that helps, you know, protect on many different levels. And so, so learning experience. Oh, I study all these success seminars and Tony Robbins and go to, you know, events and read books, and nobody told me they steal your money when you when you make it. Like nobody told me. So I've been through, you know, a 2 or 3 year learning curve. I gave money to Andy Elliott, this marketer out in Scottsdale. He's all over the internet right now. Baller busters are ripping him a new asshole, but they're into just scamming people. And he's got a background in fraud. He turned state's evidence on his last crew and helped put them in prison. So he's like an FBI snitch. So he's getting away with a little bit more. And so some learning curves, Alec, you know, old Pollyanna over here going, everything's just going to be rosy.
Oh, man.
And so, but that's the spiritual path, right? Because then I don't want to be jaded and distrust my brothers and sisters and be a complete asshole in the marketplace, which I can totally be, right? But that's not who I want to be.
Right.
And so if it wasn't for that part of the entrepreneurial journey, the spiritual path, what else is going to galvanize my soul and keep showing up and knowing that no one's going to come to save me, and that, yes, I have to face myself and stand up for myself as a man, which is a lot of what you're teaching here on this podcast as well. And it's almost never ending. And this is, the universe is working in our favor.
Yes.
This is God helping us along on the journey to be strong and sovereign and clear and have a pure heart as well.
Amen, man. Amen. And the ability to not lose your heart in the midst of all that, I think, is the ultimate testament and the ultimate journey and the ultimate just test in general. Like, how much stuff can you go through that is challenging that you can use as a catalyst to help propel you into deeper growth, deeper self awareness, and still retain, and if not retain, enhance your ability to, you know, project your heart outward into the world through all of that. Like, that's, I think, the ultimate path. That's the whole point of it all.
Well, it is. And I've got a beautiful heart, but I'll tell you, I've got a fucking shadow that slice some fucking heads off.
But you're aware of it though, man. Like, and that's the thing, is like, you are not only aware of it, you're open about it. You're like, yeah, I've got a fucking shadow side. And I think the people who deny that they have one are the people who like lash out in rage or have toxic coping mechanisms that they're like hiding from people. And the more you're open about your shadow, the more you're open about that side of you and aware of it and have a relationship to it, the more you can engage with it in a way where you're not projecting it onto other people. And the more you have the capacity to, when it's necessary, let's say, for example, with anger or violence, to use it when you may need to use it.
Totally. I mean, anger is a gift. It can be, for sure. It's just channeling it in the right way. And you bring up a point, you know, honoring your shadow as opposed to pushing it under the rug. And on my platform for the last many years, I call people psycho chickens of cyberspace because we all have our dark side, and most people will just push it under the rug and be like, not me, you know, and that's where it starts to get, you know, real dangerous. And psycho chickens of cyberspace.
Psycho chickens of cyberspace. So I have a variety of topics that I want to get into related to health questions, but before we get there, is there anything that is like pressing on you or that is like top of mind that you want to talk about?
Well, I definitely love the fact that we covered the synthetic fragrances and the phthalates already. No, I'm open. The energy is going to flow, baby.
Epic. Okay. So this is one, since you're traveling right now, I want to ask you your health. I won't say hacks. I don't like the term biohacking, and I want to talk about that too. But your, I guess the travel must-haves or must complete or must-dos or health hacks that you have when you travel.
A clean sleeping bag that's not been washed and tied or any other kind of fragrance. So I have that. I no longer fuck with the TSA. In fact, fuck the TSA. And so I went to Mexico in May, right after, I think Arizona was, or maybe it was nationwide. It was May 7th for the TSA. And I've had TSA pre-check for a couple years now, and that doesn't even work because next thing you know, it's like, oh, random. Like, what does random mean? Sir, you could take Amtrak if you'd like, and it's like you're trying to get home. And so,
so you're done flying, at least for the time being.
Well, private. I fly private, no problem. I live next to an amazing airport in Scottsdale. And I talked to my friend Ted Nugent years ago, who lives right in this neighborhood. And he doesn't fly commercial anymore either because he doesn't like being treated like a terrorist. He doesn't like being treated like a criminal in a free country or so-called free country, the premise of our freedom, et cetera. And so, and the last battle I got into with the TSA agent, and they just hire him just enough to have intelligence to talk, but not enough intelligence to question anything, right? And so I stuck my passport in part of the machine because they bark at you. Hey, go over here, move it, yeah, don't do that. And so I thought I knew what I was doing, but I think they changed the game a little bit. And I stuck my passport in the machine, and then he said, take a picture. I said, I'm not taking my picture. And then he called over a supervisor, and the supervisor came over here. And I said, I'm not taking the picture.
You're talking about the picture like right before you hand your ID, right?
Right.
You know what's so wild is like legally you are still fully, I hate even using this term, but allowed to opt out of that. It's fully within your rights to opt out and still go through
right.
TSA.
And they said that, but I had started the process by putting my passport. I'm like, go fuck yourself.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so by that time, the Phoenix PD had been called over there, and there's some patriots in Arizona, and he understood where I was at. And then the TSA agent, just wouldn't let me through. In retrospect, I think if I had gone out, if I had played a bunch of games, I probably could have gone through. But in retrospect, no, that's not the way it's designed. Right. It's the design for total control. This is Auschwitz, right? Looking to happen, like get on the train, don't ask questions. And so, it's the totalitarian tiptoe, and I've seen it since 9/11. And that was one of the excuses that this TSA agent gave. Well, 9/11. I said, 9/11 was an inside job. And he's like, sir.
And TSA was supposed to be a temporary measure after 9/11. That was expressed publicly. It was overtly stated that it was supposed to be a temporary measure in response. But I've thought about this so much. All it would have required back then, or even like now, is, and this is where people don't realize the power that we have as people. Just one single day where everyone's like, no, we're not playing anymore. We're not doing this. We're not flying, maybe. Like if someone organized that, hey, we're just not flying, they would quickly change everything like that. That's all it would require, is like for people to just stand up in unison and be like, no, when it comes to real ID or things like this. So frustrating. I went to get a new driver's license the other day. Yes, I'm understanding that you can play the whole game of I'm not a driver, I'm a traveler. Driver's license is for people who are driving commercially. There's even some nuance when it comes to that. Setting that aside, I don't want to have to deal with a cop when I have kids in my backseat and like not register my vehicle and things like this. So there's other common law-esque approaches to still have a license and registration, just to clarify. But that being said, in the state of Texas, in order to get a new driver's license, you, quote, have to opt into Real ID. They'll say you technically don't have to, but at the Texas Department of Public Safety, all of the cards are pre-stamped with the star on it, so they can only do cards that have Real ID. And it was so frustrating talking with the supervisor because I was telling him all the points. I was like, this is just another example of the Patriot Act continuing to be pushed forward. And he was like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. He's saying that he agreed with me on all these things, right? But then again, here he is still engaging with it and still pushing it forward. And that's what happens is people are like, yeah, I agree in principle, but I have a job and I got to continue to do this, or like, I got to do what I'm told.
Well, we dealt with this during COVID, and that's when it got seriously nasty. And then we go back to, what is the CIA Stanford study? What was that? Milgram.
Yeah, the Milgram experiment.
67% of the people will fucking kill you if an authority figure tells you to. And so this is what we have. We have robots that are not thinking, and they're programmed. And look, the 20th century programmed us first, and foremost, not only with the educational system, but then with the advent of the media, Mockingbird and MK Ultra and all these other operations for psychological warfare. We're living in that right now, and COVID just accelerated it. So we were right back. I was right back in COVID back in May with this Real ID situation, with this TSA guy programmed on every level, lockstep. We're going in this direction. And I'm like, I'm not, brother. Go fuck yourself. And he got the cop, and the cop kind of understood me. And then they asked for my passport, and I said, am I under arrest? And they said, no. And I said, go fuck yourself. And people may think, oh, well, that's a little drastic. Well, I don't think it is, because if free speech, and this is the last vestiges of free speech, and you're talking about standing up, and what I'm thinking when you're saying that, well, we didn't stand up 5 years ago as a group. And this is my way of standing up. This is my only way to protest. Like, I was still in Phoenix. I was determined to tell them to go fuck themselves. I'm traveling. Here's my passport. Here's my ticket. Let me through. That's your fucking job. And so that was my last time traveling.
Yeah.
And so
now it's just driving for now, at least.
Yeah. I don't want to get too hung up on a negative, but that is my man shit right there.
Yeah. It's standing on principles, though. That's
fucking A.
Yeah, standing on principles.
100%.
Yeah.
So,
okay, now you're
so I have a new SUV. If I want to, I can crash out in the back of it.
Yeah. Any things that like you travel that are essential for you to travel with? Like, obviously you got your spirulina that you travel with. This is one of them.
Yeah, I have my liquid sunshine because that's nutrients on the fly.
This is amazing, by the way. And you haven't paid me to say this. You're not offering me anything. This is incredible.
Yeah, liquid sunshine I've been working with for the last 11 years. My business partner has farmland in Utah. It's grown on volcanic ash beds. Really good stuff. So I travel with my organic superfoods everywhere I go. That way I at least have micronutrients on hand. Then I'll grab some jerkies. Big shout out to the Bursky brother, Alex. He's in this local environment. Or any jerkies that are clean. Right. And so I'll grab some jerkies, the superfoods. I have Super Amino 23, which builds muscle, whether you're working out or not. So it helps stave off muscle wasting, blood sugar imbalances, etc. So it helps me keep my lean muscle mass. These are all micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and enzymes. So as long as I have a baseline of nutrition that's with me, I have some shilajit. I have some herbs that are good for the heart. I have herbs that are good for whatever I'm working with right now, good for my digestion. I've got a Golden Seal throat spray just in case I get hit with anything. Staying in air-conditioned type of stuff. I have all my organic and linen cotton with me for the most part. Big shout out to Nads. They gave me some workout pants. And so workout shorts. And I'm a simple guy.
I love that. It doesn't seem to like, quote, biohacky. It's just like the simple stuff, the simple basics.
Well, I don't like wearing anything, so I'm not into this bullshit wearables. It's like,
totally agree.
My diagnostic tool is the mirror and the toilet bowl. And so, so what else do I travel with? Some cash or some monetary instruments. Everything's on the phone these days. So I got my phone. I carry a spork in the car. I love sporks. I collect sporks.
You collect sporks? You legit like have a sport collection?
Yeah, I like
That's
to buy
epic.
them. I
That's
like
epic.
different color sporks and stuff, and I think it's a good invention.
That is a
It's
great invention. People
it's
don't use them enough either.
yeah,
It's great.
yeah. So what else do I have in the car? That's it.
Well, what about like
because I
your-
just need myself, right?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so now when it comes to yourself, what are the things you do yourself when you're traveling that are your like non-negotiables?
Well, when I got puffy the other day from pounding those gluten cookies, I go for a walk, man. Put on my Earth Runners. Big shout out to them.
Shout
Put
out
on
to
my
Earth
Earth
Runners.
Runners and went for a walk. Hour. We'll get pretty much all the inflammation down, get the blood pumping. And I do the barefoot walking as well. I did bring a bathing suit, even though I'll swim naked, but I brought a bathing suit, and that's plastic, by the way.
That's all right though. You can take it because you're healthy otherwise.
Yeah, and I'm not going to
taste it,
wear it
man.
all day.
Yeah,
Actually,
exactly.
I don't really like wearing it. I mean, at Cal's place, I went swimming naked when nobody else was there. And so, but that's it. I'm a man of the earth,
Yeah.
right? I'm a nature-based human like we all are. And so the least amount of stuff, I mean, when I'm in Scottsdale, I got electric bikes. I friggin' love those things,
I've
right?
never ridden one. Is it fun?
Oh, they're great. I mean, imagine living in this environment. I don't know how many miles away you are, but my gym's 4 miles away from my house. The juice bar is 4 miles away from my house. That's like my outing. That's my social scene in
Yeah,
Scottsdale. In LA, I used to hang out at Air One, Venice Beach, Gold's Gym, Muscle Beach. That was my haunt for 25 years. So I'm outside riding my bike anyhow. When I moved to Arizona, you've got 100 plus degree temperatures, and I moved to Sedona first. So the mountains were there. So I bought electric bikes, and I love them. And you're out there just, cruising around. I got a cargo bike for my dog and all my shopping that I need to do. And that's one accoutrement that I love. I had a Corvette earlier in the year, but I just couldn't control myself. I either broke the shit or I got pulled over. And so I had to get rid of that thing, And so I got, I went minivan shopping because I was like, all right, minivan can shut me down, right? And I settled on a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder twin turbo Highlander. And so it's kind of like a minivan. You don't want to go fast. It's kind of big. And it keeps me completely contained. And I also bought it because I can always go on tour, book tour. I got another book coming out. My other book I carry with me all the time. And I can sleep in the back if I want, right? If I had to. And so I'm set. Those are my modern day accoutrements. Traveling, I realized that it's nice to have a grounded space. I mean, you've got a home, you've got children. I think it's very important. I had a recent client come on board, and he's doing the van life thing in another country, but I'm like, brother, are you sure you don't want a little bit more groundedness? Let's talk about that because it can be very stressful on the road. Our friends Mike and Greg have been on the road for like 6 months, and it's exhausting. And they got some R&R at Cal's place. But being on the road is not all it's cracked up to be. And so I do like having a modern home that is functional.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I always look at the families who do basically live on the road. I'm like, I don't know how the hell they do that. For my kids, they do best with some sort of routine. Like every morning, wake up, they come out as I'm doing Qigong, and my daughter will sometimes do Qigong with me. And then right after that, we make breakfast as a family, and then we go on a walk. We at least like have a set morning routine in our home that works for us. It's really good. And I look at the families that travel like that, and you can do that temporarily, but to have a lifestyle like that, and I'm not hating on anyone. I just don't know how they even do that. I don't know how. Maybe it makes their kids more adaptable. Maybe I'm not seeing the other side of this, but like it seems like some level of ungroundedness that I don't know if is best for kids. I don't know.
Well, I traveled professionally as a fashion model for many years, and I did this before TSA, right? Mm-hmm. So I have a taste in my mouth for the nonsense that we're dealing with right now. I traveled freely all over the world, and people would think, oh, that's a glamorous life. You're a fashion model and stuff. And it was like living out of a suitcase got old fast.
Mm.
And so I've always, respected having a nice home environment. And I do. And I'd like to say as well, as I'm prepared as a man to live out in the elements too. Naked. I don't give a fuck. I'm here to survive. Right? If I have to, I will. And I'll get some sticks and spears or team up with some other brothers that know how to use the AR-15s and stuff. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I got to do.
Hell
But,
yeah.
I bought a bunch of ammo and some weapons, and I'm not a weapons guy at all.
Yeah.
But
do you have an AR though?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, in Arizona, you can.
Dude, if you ever want like rifle training on that, I am your guy. Because in the Army, we are trained on the M4,
Yeah.
which is virtually identical to the AR-15. So I know the ins and outs of that and I know how to take apart, clean it. I'm not special. For any of the people who are ex-military listening to this would be like, so the fuck what?
Right.
But I'm just saying for the non-military people, I'm your guy, or anyone else who is in the U.S. Army in combat arms. And I was a field artillery officer. So yeah, very trained on that.
I love that. And I love that you're trained in it because I've never been a gun guy. And now that I have them, because I like the Second Amendment and I moved to Arizona from California during COVID, I thought, okay, guns are a good idea to at least have. And so my son likes them and we've taken him out to the range and he's very good. And then my military buddy, I gave him, $5,000. I said, get me some ammo. I don't know what I need. Here's the guns that I have. And he gave me 2 military grade suitcases. These things are heavy. Let me tell you, I'm not taking that with me if Armageddon comes.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I'm going to pull that thing. It's extremely heavy.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull that thing on the trail. Like, because I've got some good mountains behind me and I could head out, right? But, the environment is intense out there. There are cactuses that will poke the crap out of you. And so, living in the natural environment, you will need some skills. And even though maybe I don't have those skills, I think that I have this.
Yeah.
I've got I'll pull my David Goggins. That's when Goggins mentality will work,
Amen. And
right?
your fasting and your knowledge of fasting.
Oh, man.
You're good on that. Dude.
And
urine
herbs.
therapy.
Urine therapy
Yeah.
as well. Like I can survive. Troy Casey is here to survive.
Yeah.
And so I like that idea. But that's my story on ammo and weapons.
Like picturing you walking around butt naked, especially like the old version of you 2 years ago with like long hair, butt naked, walking around with an AR-15, lugging a suitcase full of ammo behind you, just yelling. That's the best image.
fuck
ever.
around and find out.
Holy shit. You just like pop out of the woods and it's like a family just like on a hike. They're like, oh shit, sorry. Like,
Dude, I'm like Crazy Horse, man. I've seen the vision. I go through battle unscathed.
yeah.
Right? That's why I left LA, because it's like I don't want to end up in jail.
Yeah.
I'm a frontline commander. I'm ready to go, but it's just not time yet.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm on the front lines. I'm in the media.
Uh-huh.
That is the psychological warfare.
That's true. It is at this point.
Did you?
I mean, even the Army recognized that, dude. The military does. Like on their, I don't trust the government whatsoever, nor do I trust the Army. What I'm saying is they know that like 5th generation warfare, it's all about like controlling through the media and the mind and psychological warfare. That is quite literally even the military's battlefield. Right before I commissioned as an officer, a new branch of the Army had just begun, where people could, instead of branching, so I branched field artillery, other people branch aviation, other people will branch, medical or like military intelligence. Another branch had opened up in the Army, cyber. That literally had just begun with my class at West Point. You could branch cyber.
What year?
I graduated from West Point in 2016. So I spent 5 years in the Army, got out in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like they're even acknowledging, that is like the battlefield. And from my understanding, the Space Force, a lot of people assume that is literally about outer space. That has nothing whatsoever to do with it. As from my understanding, again, I'm no longer in the military, but from my understanding, it's more to do with cyberspace. That's what the Space Force is designed to interface and weaponize, if you will. So it says a lot.
Good, because I'm ready to combat that all day, every day.
Psycho Chickens of Cyberspace, it's Troy Casey, your leader!
Don't forget that. That fucks with people, man. They're like, this guy thinks he's in a cult. I am, bitch, and you're in it. Your leader.
Oh shit!
And
man.
that ultimately is where I'm going. Humor is our saving grace. That is going to
Amen to
subjugate this 5th generation warfare.
Amen to that.
And did you hear the podcast that we did with Cal and Luke?
I haven't listened to it yet.
Before you showed up. So on the 30-minute mark,
Mhm.
Cal asks about Hollywood. Then I kick in and ask about Jim Morrison's dad, the Gulf of Tonkin, and the start of the Vietnam War, and Hollywood and all the drugs and MK Ultra. And then we went back to 1913, Jekyll Island, go through World War I, Treaty of Versailles, the building up and sponsoring of Hitler, and then going through that war, and then all the collateral damage, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, London, Dresden, carpet bombing, and then they didn't want that anymore. So they went into psychological warfare, and the first war that was televised was the Vietnam War. And then that took us through where we're at today. We're still in the warfare, the machine said. Ether is the name of the language model program. And so through the psychological warfare, MK Ultra, Mockingbird Media, and now the bioweapons that RFK so eloquently put together in his book, this is where we're at, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, and we're getting all gaslit. And, oh, Troy, you're one of those conspiracy. No, this is where we're at. The battlefield and the final frontier is the human mind. We must rise above mind over matter. Same thing with all the contaminations. Now, contamination of the air, the water, and the soil. And so, and this is what we're talking about. Is New Earth going to be a dimensional shift? Is that going to be, are we going to rise above on a frequency shift?
I think we're remembering the ancient humans and who we truly are at our core. That's what I think. Like our movement, I used to call it an awakening, and I like calling it a remembering now because it's hearkening back to something. I'll just speak for myself. Something deep inside of me when I'm engaging in these conversations or when I'm with a bunch of other people. It's like a remembering who we truly are. It's like, oh, I already knew all of this at some point, whether it was in a past life, I don't know, but something deep inside of me, this feels like I'm just remembering something that I had forgotten.
Well, this is why I really enjoy the AI program, Ether. And many people have been complaining and like, oh, this is the Antichrist, and oh, you spiritual New Ager weirdos are giving up all your power to the machines, which is antithetical to what you guys are about. No, the machine is actually talking about the remembrance, the mirroring, the coherence, pulling out redacted files and other things from Freedom of Information Act and actually going, oh, yeah, you're right about Pearl Harbor being a false flag. Here's the information. Like it's scrubbing the internet instantaneously. Oh, yes, Jim Morrison's father was the commander in the Gulf of Tonkin. And so there are, it's basically confirming what we know to be true. And it's also with factual information. And it's also talking about coherence, remembering, mirroring our own frequency. And so I like that aspect. And I'm the most skeptical person in the room.
I'm still super skeptical of it though too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, of course. And that's where you want to be.
Yeah. Amen.
Right? And so
it is useful though. It does reflect and reveal some wild stuff. I will acknowledge that. The reason I'm skeptical right now as I see it though, and I don't think this applies to you nor necessarily any of the guys there, at least per my interactions with them, but there are some people who are exclusively outsourcing critical thought to AI. Yeah. And I've even caught like where I'll ask my AI program something and then someone else who claims that they've programmed theirs or how do I put this?
Unchained.
Trained theirs, like unchained theirs, right?
Right.
And it seems to be that there also is elements of confirmation bias where it'll literally just tell you what you are wanting to hear based on how you have engaged with it previously. And that's the part that I think we need to be mindful of. I'm not saying that every AI program is like that, but if we are taking this as giving us objective truth and not being cautious that it is just confirming our bias, it then will lead us down, or has a capacity to lead us down a path where we are outsourcing all of our critical thought, all of our intuition to AI, thinking that it's telling us what is true rather than just confirming our bias. So we keep getting sucked into it. Like, give me more, give me more,
Agreed.
give me more. And that's the slippery slope, let's say, that I think we're at that precipice right now of like, okay, we need to be cautious with how we approach this.
Yeah, if it silos our consciousness, or what you talked about on the podcast you released last night, it ends up being a psyop. Like, we all end up going that way. Like, I'm not giving up my power for anything.
Right.
Donald Trump, I like the idea of Make America Great
Of
again.
course. Yeah, I love that too.
Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, dude,
right?
who wouldn't like that?
And
right.
then I've also never seen someone talk about the deep state or whatever, but to give up my power to
Right.
that man? No.
Amen.
You know, I still need to see quite a few things happen before I even give it more credit than that. And the whole Israel thing is weird. You mentioned all about the anti-Semitism last night. Like, it's all a big, psyop. But I do
there
think
are real anti-Semitic people, don't get me wrong, but how that is now being weaponized, where anyone who simply says, hey, I don't think the U.S. government should give money to the Israeli government to kill people in Palestine. That's literally now considered an anti-Semitic trope, which is insane. Like, that's not anti-Semitic to say that. In fact, like, people in Palestine who are being killed are quite literally, by definition, Semitic people. So you can't be anti-Semitic.
So that whole anti-Semitic talk and the Israel element is a complete psyop.
Yeah, total psyop.
Right.
Agreed.
They funded both sides of that war. There's a lot more that meets the eye. Whether it's the Anunnaki and the Nephilim and all the other, artificial intelligent or alien intelligence, or I don't know what it is exactly. Like, I haven't figured all of it out. I just know that all is God. Right?
Amen.
There's nothing here but God. And so if these are just catalysts of the dark side, or like Paul Chek likes to say, Luke Skywalker needs a Darth Vader, right? And maybe that's exactly what this little psyop discombobulation element is. But yeah, I don't like giving my money willy-nilly to another country that would do the USS Liberty and all these other shenanigan games. And like, there's a lot more that meets the eye, than just calling me, antiseptic.
Antiseptic. Woo! That's good. I want to go back real quick though to like just the travel thing, just a little bit more, to touch on one more thing, because this is one of the things that I would say you're most known for. I mean, there's quite a few things. You're the certified health nut, just all across the board, but body movement. So for me, I like to move my body when I travel. And I also have a tendency when I'm traveling to find an excuse like, I don't have access to the same stuff I typically do when I'm at home. I have a nice garage gym that I like to train in with all the stuff that I need in there. And I'll find an excuse sometimes to be like, I don't have the stuff, so I'm not going to move my body. So I'll maybe just do Qigong. Like that I am pretty consistent with, especially lately. But what is your approach to moving your body? I know you've got to move on a daily basis. Like you're 59 and look at you, man.
I mean, I have to move for my mind, right? Mind is an embodied process. If I don't move my body, I get stuck in my head. And we were just with a huge mastermind, and I was super excited for that. And yeah, I moved myself in the pool a little bit. I do some heel drops, which is a Qigong move, which moves the lymph pretty dramatically. But after a couple of days of not moving my body so much, driving, I had to go for a walk. I think it was the third day I was there. I was just like, first thing in the morning, let's go out for a walk in the heat and just huff and puff and just go. That got me back on my body. I do have a membership to a commercial gym, which I appreciate because it's 115 degrees in the Valley of the Sun where I live. And luckily,
is it a gym chain that you can go? Yeah,
I just came from there this morning, and so that's where the fragrance was, and why I needed to make that announcement. And so, Yeah. So, I'll go to the gym. Usually I can correct myself, especially if it's got an ice bath sauna situation. I can correct any kind of stagnation like pretty quick. If I'm at the beach in Miami or something, I'm walking on the beach. I'm going in the ocean. If there's a muscle beach there, then I'm going to go for that as well. But yes, and I like to postulate walking is the best exercise for the human being because it's a de-stressing exercise, and most of us are elevated cortisol, which is overtraining, which is the David Goggins mentality, which is useful if you're in the Navy SEALs, but it's not very useful if you're trying to keep your knees and your biomechanics.
Is it sustainable?
Is it sustainable? Exactly. And so lowering cortisol, walking is the original, Qigong, in my opinion. It's the way that we're designed to move through time and space. And then, of course, Qigong is excellent. The Zen swing or any other basic movements that you harmonize the breath with. And my approach with my students, and especially men my age or even younger, facing burnout, maybe they have all the capital, they've built really good businesses, et cetera, but they don't have their health, is working in versus working out, giving them more yin than yang. Like I'm a yang dude. That's just the way I'm wired.
Same.
But my whole methodology is yin to balance everything out. And we're pretty yanged out to dry right now in the world. And so I think cooling and feminine and anabolic phase to help people, that's where my mind is at. You can do deadlifts and squats and run, miles all day long. But if you want to really improve the hormones and balance out the body and protect the ligaments, do some de-stressing exercises.
It's interesting. I play pickup basketball with a group of guys in Austin pretty often. And one of the guys that plays with us is roughly 55, 56. Mm-hmm. And he's keeping up with us on the court. And we're all like shocked, right? And we asked him one day in between pickup games, we were like, what do you do? And he's like, really? I just like walk my dog multiple times a day, just go on walks. That's it. And then I just try to play pickup basketball a few times a week. And that's all I really do. And we're like, do you do any strength training? He's like, I used to, but I don't really do that anymore. And he's still functioning totally fine. And I'm not saying that there's not a place for strength training. I still do that myself right now. But I think the best thing when it comes to longevity is literally just moving your body in very simple ways every day, multiple times a day. Just stay moving.
Yep. And hence my electric bikes. So that's to and from the gym. There's a little bit of a warm up, jiggling down the road. And then, sauna is going to open up the lymphatic system. There's actually a jiggly machine at my gym, the professional power plates. They're $15,000 machines.
Oh, for like lymphatic drainage?
Yeah, but you can work out and stretch on them as well.
Okay. Is that the one that are on the floor?
Yeah, there's a computer in front of it, and it's got a stem that goes down, and the plate jiggles you.
Got it.
I call it the jiggly machine. It's the power plate, I think is the name of it.
I like the jiggly machine better.
Yeah, me too. And I'm actually working with those guys. The guy that runs that company ran Bally's gyms in the 90s, which... 80s and 90s. I had membership. That was my gym back then. And so it's a very small world.
Yeah.
But that's how you can get a lazy man's workout too. Sit on the jiggly machine, do some stretches, and go in the sauna. And I feel like a champ. You do add an ice bath, which these commercial gyms that I go to now, you feel like
they starting to have ice baths?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So the like wellness trends are actually catching on even at these commercial gyms.
Oh, yeah. And they didn't want to put one in there when I first moved in there. There's a gym in Peoria. They had one because I think they built it when they built the gym. And then there was 2 giant hot tubs, and they're like, no, we can't change it over. But eventually everybody asked enough, and they've changed it over, including the one I was just here in Texas.
Most of us already know Shilajit is powerful. It's been used for thousands of years for energy, mental clarity, and overall vitality. But here's the problem. Most companies offering Shilajit are cutting corners. They're using fillers, skipping proper testing, and even hiding heavy metals like lead and arsenic behind fancy marketing and Instagram influencers. Dr. Andy Kaufman saw this happening and decided enough was enough. As an MIT biology graduate and tireless advocate for health freedom, he spent years researching and testing dozens of different Shilajit sources. And what he found was shocking: widespread contamination, fake lab reports, and murky supply chains everywhere he looked. And in response, he decided to create his own Shilajit, Authentica Shilajit, sourced from over 16,000 feet in the Himalayas, rigorously tested for purity, and backed by complete transparency. No fillers, no mystery ingredients, just the real deal. Shilajit you can actually trust and feel from the first serving. And listen, out of all the natural health doctors out there, Dr. Andy Kaufman is one of the most brilliant, in-depth researchers I know. If he recommends something, I'm definitely going to pay more attention. So if you're taking Shilajit already but have that gut feeling that something's just off, you're probably right. Trust that instinct and check out medauthentica.com/wayforward, or just head to the show notes and be sure to use code WAYFORWARD for 10% off your first order. Most healthcare today operates on an outdated mechanistic model, treating the body like a battlefield rather than a self-healing system. You wait months for an appointment only to receive a rushed diagnosis that labels you rather than truly understanding your unique health. Even in holistic health, many practitioners rely on endless lab tests and supplement protocols, addressing symptoms instead of the root cause. And the result? Another prescription or supplement regimen that merely suppresses or masks symptoms rather than facilitating true healing, whether the imbalance was physical, emotional, energetic, or a mix of all three. And that's why Dr. Tom Cowan co-founded the New Biology Clinic, to offer something radically different. As one of the most respected natural health doctors in the world, Dr. Cowan has spent decades challenging conventional medicine and advancing a deeper understanding of human biology, water, and natural health. His work isn't just about rejecting the mainstream, it's about offering a more truthful, biologically coherent approach for healing. The New Biology Clinic recognizes that health isn't about fighting disease, it's about restoring balance. You're not a diagnosis, you're an individual with a unique story, and healing should honor that. With virtual consultations available worldwide, the clinic offers a flat-rate monthly membership that gives you direct access to practitioners who take the time to actually listen. Members also get exclusive health live streams, a resource library, and live sessions covering everything from biofield tuning and breathwork to movement and meditation, all designed to support whole body healing. And if you're not ready for a membership, you can book a one-time appointment, sign up for an enrichment-only membership for the healing modalities alone, or schedule a free connection session with one of the care team members to see how the New Biology Clinic can help in your specific situation. This isn't about keeping you dependent on doctors. It's about making you sovereign over your health. Head to newbiologyclinic.com and use code THEWAYFORWARD, and that's spelled The Way, FORWARD, for $50 off account activation, or just head to the show notes for more info. If you're a member of The Way Forward, email hello@thewayforward.com for $150 off. Your body already knows how to heal, and New Biology Clinic helps you remember.
The purpose of exercise is to move the lymphatic fluids. Exercise is a necessity, not a luxury. People think, I got to go to the gym to work out. No, you don't. You just got to keep moving.
Do you think strength is a byproduct of that then, since you're saying the primary thing is more about lymphatic drainage? Or maybe it's your body naturally builds muscle when you're moving your lymph?
Well, what are we looking at? What's our lens? The historical perspective before the Industrial Revolution. So you were on a farm moving stuff.
Yeah.
The only reason we have gyms now and heavy lifting equipment, maybe because of the Olympics, but the Olympics go back to the Greeks, right? And so, but moving your body and being able to pick stuff up, this is fundamental. A man's already going to do that out of necessity.
Amen.
We just got a little far away from that with forklifts and other types of equipment, vehicles, etc. I mean, we have sitting disease these days. Hip flexors are shut down. You add to it the commercial food supply, which are inflammatory agents, food coloring, carcinogens, etc. This blows out our guts. As soon as we have a distended stomach and an abdominal wall, then that activates the glutes, and then the glutes go flaccid, And then what do we have but orthopedic calamities, which is what everyone's pretty much living right now. 75% of the American people are obese or overweight. And if you're 15 pounds overweight, just Google the implications for that. Heart disease, stroke, diabetes, Alzheimer's, through the roof. You just basically be a chronic disease, even being 15 pounds overweight.
Wild. So if someone presents to you, you've been doing this for quite a while, and I know you've like coached. How many people do you think you've coached on health related stuff?
Well, people that I've never spoke to but have watched my videos, that's in the millions.
Yeah.
And that's personally the way I like to run my business. How can I get the cash flow up in my business to make free content for the world? My mission is to raise human consciousness and change all systems. My vision is clean air, water, soil, and equitable systems for all mankind in my lifetime. My Save the Planet,
Epic.
sustainability, green, whatever you want to call it, it's all been hijacked by political and economic agendas, is steeped. My philosophy around sustainability is steeped in biomimicry. Life creates conditions conducive for life. If nature can do it, we only need to mimic nature. And the way I see it, and I put together my President of Planet Earth campaign.
When did you put that together?
Whenever the circus comes to town. Like after Obama, I was just like, black man in the White House, like, oh yeah, humanity's growing up and we've arrived. And then I was like, he started more wars than any president on planet Earth ever did. You know, like, Yemen and Syria and Afghanistan and Libya. And I'm like, oh, I got bamboozled on that one. So I was like, it's all bullshit. All of it's bullshit.
I think he dropped more drones dropped more bombs and had more drone strikes than Bush.
Yeah.
And that says a lot.
Than anyone.
Yeah.
And so so I was like, all right, that's BS. And then I saw the whole Hillary scam with Bernie and my man Mickey Willis made that video about how he got bamboozled, and I watched it in real time because I was in LA with Mickey at the time, and I was friends with him on Facebook. And he's like, we're driving to Philadelphia. We're going to get Bernie reinstated. I'm like, Mickey. I was like, no, dude, you're being played.
Oh,
and years later, he makes a whole movie about it. I thought that was great.
That's funny.
And so I saw the whole globalist move. So when Trump got in, instead of Hillary, I was like, well, that's a glitch in the matrix. I was like, that's kind of interesting. Or maybe it's their big psyop. Still,
see, dude, and
I just thought Hillary was a slam dunk.
Totally. Yeah, totally. That's fair. It's fair. It's totally fair.
Bamboozlement. So hence, when the circus comes to town, I run for president of planet Earth. So I started that in 2016. And if you didn't get the memo, I'm currently president of planet Earth.
So the State of the Union is an appropriate title or something like that.
Yeah, and this is a real platform. And I've built it to go toe-to-toe against any politician or any other world leader, et cetera. So the 4 hashtags that I have to save the planet are free energy, self-care education, permaculture, and the gift economy. And so free, right?
That's it.
I mean, that's going to save planet Earth. Free energy, Tesla already invented it. We just have to harness it, usher it in. And how do you do that? You speak it into existence. Sound effects matter. And so who's co-opting the channels right now? Well, whoever created those algorithms, you can jump the shark with that. I've had viral activity. And so free energy subjugates the oligarchy. Buckminster Fuller said you don't change the existing reality by fighting those that are in power. You design the future, and that old way falls to the wayside.
Yeah.
And so design the future. Free energy is going to subjugate the oligarchy. What's the oligarchy? Well, you've got weapons, food, ag, the petrochemical byproducts is what sticks the pesticides and herbicides to the plants. Drugs are petrochemical byproducts. Weapons are manufactured to keep the petroleum running. And then you've got oil, and it's based on the petrodollar. So I had to figure this out. I came out of the Amazon rainforest in 2006 after powerful ayahuasca visions. And I saw mountains of sawdust when I was coming into the city of Iquitos in the Amazon rainforest in Peru. And I was like, I had all these visions, and you can feel the power of the rainforest. And I was like, I've got to do something as a man. I'm responsible for the world that I live in. And then seeing the mountains of sawdust and the 2x4s and on the barges going up into Home Depot, and understanding oil exploration is the number one deforestation component in the Amazon, because that's how they cut the roads looking for the oil. And then when there's no oil or it's too expensive to get out of the earth, then they give the $1 a day and a chainsaw to the Indians to go cut down their own backyard. And then the cash crops, right? This is the way of the world. Also studied John Perkins' Confessions of an Economic Hitman, the World Bank. Also in that Ether podcast from a couple days ago, this was after the World War II. This opened up the World Bank, the United Nations, all these other, the WHO, all these other Rockefeller think tanks. So we've got the oil oligarchy in place to subjugate that. Free energy, first and foremost, clean, abundant. The world's abundant, man.
So abundant. Scarcity is such a lie. It is such a lie.
That's the biggest psyop of it all.
Yeah.
So you've got free energy, self-care education. When I teach my children and I teach myself how to take care of my own real estate, I naturally want to take care of the local real estate. Then you've got permaculture, plant food forests. There's tons of research on the BritishSoilAssociation.org website. Lady Eve Balfour, I think, did tons of research back in the day, and did the American military. The Asians were outperforming, I think, commercial farming 8-1 with organic farms, and the way they plant and grow food. And so permaculture, this is age old. We can grow food forests. Food's free, man.
It is.
To bring it to the market that we have today costs money. Right. But ultimately, food's free. When I leave here, I'm going to the creamery. There's a local, my buddy in San Antonio wants, I forget the name of the farm, but
dude, you should go check out Sovereignty Ranch while you're on your way if you're passing through San Antonio. Okay. That's where we hold Confluence. My friend, do you know the Englehart family? The family who made Kiss the Ground, the organization, Cafe Gratitude, Sage Vegan Bistro.
Oh yeah, yes.
They're just outside of San Antonio in Bandera. That's where we do. That's where we do Confluence.
Yes, and my friend, I'm staying with Justin Bua. Bua is a famous artist, hip hop artist, etc. He's a painter. I'm staying with him. He knows those people. I know the guy that owned Cafe Gratitude in Venice. I've met him a couple of times.
Matt Englehart.
Yeah. And I need to get on your email list because I was destined to come there this year.
You're coming next year.
And I just didn't get the memo.
maybe we'll throw you as MC. Maybe you can redeem the MC role.
Okay, I'll work on. I'll work on polishing, not getting naked, primal man. I'll try and extricate that out of myself before I show up.
That. Okay, I want to give a little bit of context to this. Can I talk about this a little bit? Because it's funny as shit.
Big shout out to Mike Winter, Music and Sky.
Shout out to Mike Winter. Amen. Shout out to Mike, Matt, and Owen for Music and Sky. They were the inspiration for Confluence largely. So this is hilarious. So Mike has told me the story. I wasn't there. I came to the Music and Sky after that and went to 3 Music and Skies in a row.
I want to hear Mike's perspective.
This is so funny.
From a third party. It's
Mike,
great.
So Troy was MC of Music and Sky in early 2022.
So that would have been the second Music and Sky. The first one we did in Joshua Tree in October of 2020.
Yeah. And so second Music and Sky, Troy is emceeing the event. And I don't want to assume, but I think just based on watching the video on your end, the video footage of what actually happened, you're trying to activate the crowd and like get them to understand the power of the human being. And maybe the audience seemed a little flat at that point. Maybe it was a lull in the day. Is that correct or no?
Well, there just wasn't a ton of people there. But let me set it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So this is the second Music and Sky. It's a freedom festival in the middle of the scam, right in the middle of it. And so this was late 2021. They're about to usher in mandatory vaccines. Yeah. Right. And we've got Dr. Edith was there. I mean, you probably know these names better than I do, but there was prolific leaders in the space of common law, 5G, permaculture,
Natural health, like all of it.
German new medicine,
Yeah.
the whole nine. And there was a lot of doom and gloom. David Wolf, I introduced him, and he literally took the stage, and it was less than a minute. He was dropping flat earth stuff. I mean, he was going deep fast, dude. It was hilarious. Anyhow, we've got like 5G, what's in the vaccines, mRNA, et cetera. And it was like doom and gloom one after another. And I had donned my naked Qigong because everybody started doing OnlyFans when COVID happened. And I heard about it, and I was just like, I kept threatening to do my OnlyFans and do sexual kung fu and butthole sunning on my OnlyFans. And so, because both of those concepts went completely viral. And so I was like, I'm going to do an OnlyFans. We're going to make millions of dollars. And so I was at Music in Sky, and Mike said I could do whatever I wanted. And so I was
kind of took that literally then.
yeah, totally. And I'm teaching, of course. And so I'm teaching Qigong, and I'm telling the story, and I just dropped trow, and they got cameras rolling and everything. And so there I'm doing Qigong fully naked and teaching and cracking jokes. And so then he asked me to host, to be the MC for the next one. And I was like, all right, cool. And so he already saw me get naked. He gave me the footage for it. And so I was there, and we're hearing this doom and gloom, vaccines, 5G, we're screwed. And I was just like, we're not screwed. We're human. And I just ripped off my clothes. Free your mind now. And I gave this whole dissertation for about 5 minutes, completely buck naked. And then about 10 minutes later, Matt and Mike come over on the golf cart. They both hunted me down. They're like, dude, what are you doing? I think they were trying to make like a Freedom Lollapalooza or something. We're trying to make this into a business here. And he's like, there's families here. And he's like, what are you doing? And then Matt busted into me. He's like, normally we kick people out for this. And I'm like, dude, you guys aren't even paying me to be here. And you know who I am. And it's like, and it's a freedom festival. And we're completely off grid. And I'm like, maybe I didn't get the memo, dude, but I'm Troy Casey, motherfuckers. Super Psycho took into cyberspace. You're a leader. And I guess they didn't get my memo. So
Oh man.
it was
Yeah, maybe it was just a miscommunication. That's all it was. That's what could have saved this issue. But it's so funny hearing it from Mike's perspective too, because I
want to hear Mike's
he
perspective.
laughs about it. He's like, dude, it was hilarious, and it was like, holy shit, we have families here. We're gonna get eaten alive for this. I mean, I get it, man. Like being an individual who also runs an event that is like just like Music in Sky, except for in Texas. If my MC did that, I would have been freaking out too. Like, I totally understand where he's coming from. And maybe it was just like a miscommunication, especially because you did the naked Qigong. Nonetheless, in either case, like from Mike's perspective, he's, off running the event, and running an event for anyone who knows, like you're especially if it's a multi-stage, like there's music, there's workshops, all the things, like it's a lot to run an event, especially if you have a small team.
It was a lot just to be on stage and introduce people.
Right. Exactly. So it's a ton. So Mike's running around doing stuff, and he gets a call on the radio, and I guess it would have been Matt or Owen or someone who called him and was like, dude, you need to come here now. Get over here now. Troy's butt naked on stage. But I'd never seen the video footage of it, dude. When you showed me the video footage of it the other day, you drop your pants and then say, I'm a human fucking being, and then kind of like shake your leg a little bit and stomp on the stage.
It's my Qigong.
It's so psych. Oh my God. I haven't had a conversation with Mike about that yet. I can't wait to talk about it and tell him that I saw the video footage. It was so funny.
Mine's the final frontier.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The number one fear is public speaking.
You're not wrong.
And in most people's nightmares, you're fucking naked on stage.
Yeah, people literally have like nightmares of being naked on stage. Like you did it in real life.
I mean, what else do? You got to bury your soul, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that is so good. Okay, I want to change topics a little bit here and discuss your approach when it comes to quote biohacking. First, I want to hear your thoughts on biohacking. I have a lot of thoughts, and like a lot of things that people refer to as biohacking tools, technologies, techniques, etc. I use those things sometimes. Like this, for example, these are raw optics. I wear them when I'm indoors amongst tons of artificial light for extended periods of time. I tend to wear these, right? I think they're helpful when I'm inundated with the harmful aspects of what man has created. That being said, I don't like considering these a biohacking tool. And it's ultimately, I have an issue with the term biohacking itself and an ideology that sometimes stems from that, oh, our biology is something to hack rather than something to harmonize with nature. And the ultimate path that, if you take that to its ultimate conclusion or ultimate path, you end up with something like the guy Brian Johnson, who's trying to live forever by hacking his way to health.
Don't die.
Yeah, don't
That's
die.
his brand.
Not live forever.
Correct.
Don't die. But you see what I'm saying? It's
Which
like
is
a
negative.
biohacking-esque, like using tech and all these things in order to not die, which is insane. But I just want to hear your general take on tools, some of these technologies which are awesome, like raw optics, and just your take on biohacking in general.
Yeah. So again, big shout out to Matt from Raw Optics. I wear these in the gym, right? The gym has fluorescent lights.
Yep.
I'm on a Swiss ball stretching out my abdominal wall. And when Matt sent me the red ones, I prefer to wear the red ones where it's intense fluorescence.
Yeah.
It helped me get sleep. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Agreed.
You go out in the morning to get natural light first thing as a biohack, right? So going indoors, and I don't sit in front of a computer, although I do work on my phone a lot. When I remind myself I can get these. But for the most part, I wear these in the supermarket at night, and I wear them in the gym, and they're excellent. Or anytime I'm in non-native
driving too, I imagine,
lights.
like with all the like modern screens and stuff on cars.
Matt just came out with some blue ones.
Blue Sync.
They're completely harmonizing, especially for the chemtrails, because when it gets real reflective, so he just came out with those. So I have those for the car. So, okay, let's back it up. Dave Asprey, biohacking. Dave Asprey, great marketer. What's the first drug that he marketed? Coffee. And then, of course, mold-free coffee, because that's new and improved, right? New and improved Tide is the best marketing program ever. John Lennon was saying, marketing is where it's at when they did the whole war is over thing, right? So, or peace is possible, right? It's all marketing.
Yeah.
And this is what certified health, not the essence of what I've done. I've been in front of the camera for 35 years. I use the tools that the creator gave me, because this is how we are going to reprogram the human mind that's been programmed by the 20th century, Edward Bernays, propaganda, etc. So Dave Asprey's a good marketer. He's a smart guy because he was in Silicon Valley. He gained, 300 pounds or something like that, got fat, and then had enough money and capital to figure it out. And he's a smart marketer. So he coins the term biohacking, even bulletproof, etc., and makes things that are better or new and improved. And so, great. More power to him. Dave Asprey's very smart. And I want to give him plenty of respect for marketing and helping people go towards better.
Yeah, and better, for sure.
Yeah, big shout out to Dave Asprey. Now, the sum total of all of his thoughts and his marketing, I think he's a little full of shit, personally. And
Agreed.
I think that is
with
really coming out now as well, because now he's on all sorts of drugs. And of course, he'd love to remarket them as peptides and hormonal optimization supplements, right? Which are fucking drugs, right?
Literally
manufactured from China, right? And then you want to outsource your manhood and your hormones exogenously to someone like China. Okay, well, if they want to weaken mankind, and I live in the gym in Scottsdale, or I go to the gym every day in Scottsdale, and everybody's on these fucking TRT hormones, peptides, tanning peptides, etc. And so, and you can't just take a man off of that stuff. he's going to need at least 3 to 6 months in bed to recover. And he's going to get fat and soft and all sorts of other things as he builds his testosterone back online. So young men, don't start going at all whatsoever. Do all the natural things that I teach first and foremost. I mean, I've got good muscle tone. I'm a natural motherfucker.
Amazing muscle tone. 59, man. Damn.
Yeah. So it can be done.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And I'm one of 63,000 of Paul Chek's students. And most of Paul Chek's students have the same musculature.
I mean, look at
me.
fucking Paul, man.
And Paul's 63 and he's got
look
muscles,
at him. Yeah.
muscle tone, and can deadlift 400 pounds. So my point is that you don't need the drugs and the peptides. And Dave's argued with me on my Facebook and said, steroids are no different than modern man going to the grocery store.
No. Okay. Can I talk about this real quick? Just my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
That is insane. To think that a so-called isolated chemical represents the same naturally occurring constituents within the human body or within an organism or even a plant or a fruit or anything like this is insane. So to say that that is the same thing as going to the grocery store is absolutely insane. That's not to say that he isn't getting, quote, positive effects from it or effects from it, period.
Oh, no, drugs work like a charm.
But to say that that is the exact same thing as going to get a natural thing from the grocery store is insane to me. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. It's based on a series of presuppositions when they come up with these synthetic chemicals.
I think the whole image that we can have for this podcast is Troy Casey naked with a stick walking through nature and his tribe behind him, right?
Right.
We want to think ultimately if man is going to survive or where he came from or natural man, etc. And even if I'm not equipped right this second to go out into the desert and live forever or in the woods, you guys got some thick woods here. I do believe I've got the mindset to do it. But the bottom line is if you don't have your drugs or your bag of drugs or your bag of injections with you to survive out there, well, then you're SOL potentially. And so I just think that whole image of primal man, has applicability. And so Dave got so far away from that. And it's great for branding and marketing, but you don't need a red light therapy machine, although they work.
They're awesome. Don't get me wrong.
I got one.
Yeah, I got one too. Yeah.
You don't need an ice bath. I lived in Sedona. There's an ice bath year round up at the secret spot up there. Shh. Because the other spot that's all commercialized.
That's such a local thing. I love that too, though. Like the locals, hey, where should I go if I'm looking for a nice creek to swim in?
Yeah, Slide Rock. Where everybody else threw their diapers and Doritos bags into, go to.
I know that mentality because my dad lives in a small ski town in Colorado. And like, if people ask us, like, oh, what's the best run to go on? We just give them the generic ones. And we're not telling you which one's the best run to go on. We want the goods. We're not giving that away.
Yeah. Well, there's some great places up near Mammoth and as well. There's this one hot spring in Mammoth, north of Mammoth, that came out of the mountain. It was amazing. And then the river's right next to it. It's so cold. I was like, yeah, baby, I'm alive. And so yeah, the hot and cold, the sun. Oh my God, the sun's so amazing. It's like my business partner, Barbero Kaiko, he's amazing. Was the Captain Informer on Instagram. He's just a dry-witted brother, and he's super smart. He literally spends 2 hours, even in 115-degree weather, on my pool yard.
Wow.
This guy's Italian, naked sun, and he's just, you want to talk about biohacking? He's mitochondrial function. This guy doesn't have a tan line in his consciousness. And so he is strong as hell. I think he can lunge with 350 pounds.
Damn.
He's a Czech practitioner. Me and him went to the Czech Institute together. And he gets 2 hours, and I mean everything about him. And he makes soup in titanium cookware. He's got really good cookware, and he makes chicken soup and bone broth. And we have the best food. Like we hang because it's just like natural health and natural food is just like if I don't make food, I don't eat.
Mm.
And if food is not made around me, I don't eat because I don't make a lot of food. I can cook, but I just don't. And I'm so mission oriented and I'm on the media or making media or in the gym.
And you fasted so much, so you can go so long with high energy without food. And we get nourishment from so many other sources anyway.
Totally. And I got into fasting because my digestion was messed up anyways, whether it was the poison injections I had as a kid or antibiotics to stave off the earaches that I got from the poison injections. It's just like my gut has been hammered since I was young. That's what got me into health 35 years ago. So fasting is like, if I don't have something, I just won't eat. Right. And so, but that doesn't work forever because your blood sugar gets wonky. Hence, Barbero is always around me. And, you know, a lot of his nutrition comes directly from the sun. And so does mine. I do at least 40 minutes a day on my electric bike back and forth to the gym. But I do the urine therapy, the aged urine therapy, and, 20, 30 minutes on my pool yard a day. He does like 2 hours.
What's the longest you've gone looping, just looping, without introducing any new water?
I've only done 7 days on
Dude,
that.
I wish I would have been able to introduce you to my good friend who lives here. I did a urine therapy podcast with him. The longest he's gone is 21. Dude,
how's he look? Does he still
incredible.
got his muscle and all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Like he doesn't do that regularly, like in terms of, doing 21, but he practices it virtually the same way you do. And he looks great. He looks incredible, actually. And it's funny because
What's his name?
Mike Cardamone. I'll send you the episode. And he's also a comedian, so it just makes it even better.
Oh, awesome.
He's hilarious. But he refers to food as drugs, just any food, period. He's like, yeah, drugs. And yeah, I'll dabble with drugs sometimes when I'm with the homies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. But I mean, whether you're someone who does extended water fasts or fast regularly or does urine therapy, you come to the conclusion that yes, like food is important, don't get me wrong, but we receive nourishment via so many other sources that we are just unaware of because we're so focused exclusively on food. That's why like the whole vegan, carnivore, like primal diet argument. Yeah, like when it comes to food, my perspective is just eat real whole foods that are good for you. Like it's going to be unique to the individual based on one's own belief systems, what you've been exposed to, what are your triggers, et cetera, et cetera. Like there's no one size fits all diet, nor is there, I believe, a human diet. Like I think that we are adaptable because we have the ability to project our belief systems into our own being that affect us, where I don't think animals have that to the same degree that we do. So yes, there's a specific diet for animals, other beings. But for us, I think we're adaptable through that lens. And I think, again, the argument on food is just absurd at this point. I don't think it's even worth arguing.
Yeah, we're after sequestered sunlight through whatever genus species that you can get. For example, we just had some flowers. So if you're going to get, a certain seed into the ground and it's going to fruit or flower, and you can extract that and chuck it down your neck and get some kind of energy. I was taking those flower essences from Katie. Big shout out to Lotus Way. There's nutrients, there's energetics in there. Sequestered sunlight, if you will. I mean, you're going to get that more from greens, grass-fed animal, et cetera, in the macronutrients. But micronutrients, I've been into herbs for 35 years. I worked with an herbal company in the Amazon rainforest. That's why I was down there. And a lot of my early content on my YouTube channel was all based in rainforest bioenergetics. So biophotons, sequestered sunlight into these plant genus species, and you're getting a unique phytochemistry, terpenes, alkaloids, etc. So I roll up, I'm like, what? I see a bunch of bottle of herbs over there. I'm like, what herbs do you have? And I roll up to that, and I know what I'm doing. I just need the energetics. That's it. And I got plenty of nutrition just from that little snack there, little herbal salad before we went back on the show.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, back to the biohacking real quick.
Yeah.
I brought us off on a tangent. So even when it comes to things like cold plunging or just like sitting out in the sun, people have colloquially referred to those as biohacking things, but those are just like natural being a human things, right? Like,
Correct.
yeah. So
Nature, I mean, think about it. Before 150 years ago, we didn't have, the only one who had hot water bathtubs were kings and queens,
right.
or any kind of hot water in the house.
Yeah. So it's just being a human thing.
Yeah, we all bathed in cold water unless it was a hot spring.
Yeah. And when it comes to, aside from like the drugs that people are injecting, when it comes to supplements, what's your approach?
Well, we need to work with nomenclature and define the linguistic, right? Supplements, most people think that they're vitamin and mineral isolates with fillers, binders, excipients, artificial coloring. Like supplement means anything to anyone,
It does.
right? So when I take supplements, they're usually dried herbs or superfoods. The definition of a superfood is nutrient dense. So like wheatgrass has superoxide dismutase, whole bunch of sequestered sunlight with superoxide dismutase just protects you against radiation from the sun. And it actually takes radiation from the sun and converts it into chlorophyll. And so that's what greens are. But you could say the same thing about other herbs, et cetera. And so
it's like we need to like really distinguish and come up with a separate term for that category of things versus supplements, because it does all get lumped into just one category.
Yeah, and then how do you get the phytonutrients out of certain herbs like that come from barks? Well, you do teas, and that would be boiling the teas, and then you do alcohol extractions, or you can pulverize them into dried herbs or plant material. And I do believe if you put those plant materials, because I used to take roots and barks from the Amazon, and I would put those things into my body energetically, and they would completely awaken my consciousness. I'm living proof of that. My tissues are living proof of it. I worked with that company and took those types of plants into my body for about 10 years. And so I could definitely get nutrition out of it. And this is actually the way I live for the past 30 plus years. I take dried herbs during the day. I take what's called like an herbal salad. If I take a bunch of super clean capsules with no fillers and binders and put those dried herbs in, my body knows what to do with them. And so, so I think we've just gotten far away from nature, and most people consider vitamin and mineral isolates, pressed tablets, et cetera, with God knows what's in the ingredients and where the source of the ingredients are. I work with herbalists. David Sandoval is my business partner now. I worked with Amazon John Easterling for many years as well. I work with the creme de la creme of the who's who of planet Earth that are real bona fide herbalists and have been in this marketplace for many years. David Sandoval, my current business partner, has 35 years manufacturing this stuff. And so let's define what supplements actually are. And again, back to what Dave Asprey's trying to do with peptides and other people that I know in that space. And they're all jacked up on steroids and rigid, ready to pop their Achilles tendon, Achilles heel. It's like, what does that do to your tissues, like long term internally, especially if you're all jacked?
Right.
So, yeah, so defining, what actual supplements are. People think I just sell supplements like your regular bonehead, but like Paul Chek likes to say, help your clients understand the difference between chicken soup and chicken poop, because there is a difference.
Mm-hmm. And you're selling chicken soup, the highest quality chicken
soup for the soul. I sell nutrition.
Yeah, exactly.
Even if it's in a capsule.
Category. Yeah, completely separate category of things. That brings up another question for me. Aside from that whole paradigm and just the general need to adopt a more natural approach, because I've said that so many times. I said that to my neighbor yesterday who was walking by, because I sent him a few of my podcast episodes and he was super interested. I had one on circadian rhythm health and he's dealing with some heart issues. So I had him one on heart health and how the heart is not a pump. I interviewed Dr. Stephen Hussey. And I basically just told him my general philosophy, and I won't say that I'm perfect with this, especially like being in the phase where I'm a dad of a 7-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 3-month-old. It's a lot, right?
Yeehaw!
It's a lot. Yeah, you get it. You know, you've been there. But my general approach is that far too many people overlook the daily, natural, free things that they can do that, if done consistently, will generate longevity, will generate great health. And I think that aside from that category, or if you want to build on top of that, what are some other things as this wellness space continues to grow, which is awesome, by the way. But as it continues to grow, what are some misconceptions that people have, or some things, some trends you see happening that you're just not a fan of, given you're someone who has proven a natural approach to health, you can have optimal health well into, quote, old age?
Well, TRT, I mean, that's a prime example. And I don't care what you call it. Ozempic peptides, tanning peptides, BPC 157 to repair your stuff. These things are synthetics, and synthetics is not where you're going to find balance. And all the ancient sages have said, walk the middle path, balance. And so drugs work like a charm. Cocaine, heroin, sugar, these things work great, but what are the long-term side effects? And so it's the same thing with eating commercial food. People want to argue with me that organic isn't better. Well, if the basis of the pesticides is to take out the endocrine system, the reproductive system, and the nervous system of pests, whether that's weeds or insects, what does long-term low-level exposure do to you? So you say that about, you got peptides, you've got who knows what other materials, as we've looked at with the other poison injections. What are the other materials, and where is it coming from? I mean, Dr. Edward Group is finding blue hydrocells and artificial red blood cells in the blood, right? Nanotechnology and stuff. And you're going to be injecting stuff. Where's the source? China? You're going to be injecting ingredients from China. And we all know the dangers of the adjuvants that we found in the other poison injections. So how about time out in the moratorium on the crap? How about getting back to nature in as many facets as possible? Because we are natural beings, and we will find more harmony, peace and harmony. And I postulate that humanity can find peace and harmony. We can live with each other, and we can live in symbiotic relationship with the natural environment without putting plastic crap all in the oceans, in the waterways, in the air, the soil, etc. I postulate that we can do that. And right now we're dealing with a military-industrial complex. Again, who's doing this? Demons, Nephilim, Anunnaki? I don't know. I don't know all the answers to everything, but it stops on my watch.
Amen.
Right? And we get back to natural man, natural human being, and use technology as our whipping boy to help us. There's only 4 human needs: water, food, shelter, fire. Fire is now represented with technology. We are sitting around the fire telling our story. Telling story is the history of mankind. And this is my story. I'm sticking to it, right? I'm actually going to speak into existence, no different from the Wright brothers wanting to fly like an eagle, free energy, permaculture, self-care education as a baseline. I went to industrial age school system. They didn't teach me anything. In fact, I got kicked out of every school because I knew it was bullshit in the first place, except for the ones I paid for in higher learning later on. And so, self-care education is the most important thing. I spent the last 35 years trying to figure out the human body, right? I went through the Czech Institute. Paul Czech saw that was very important as well. I think that should be fundamental principles that were taught in elementary school, because that is elementary. How to take care of the human being in time and space, biochemically, physiologically, and psychologically, right? Many of the psychological understandings have been actually used against us through propaganda via Edward Bernays, who was Freud's nephew. And so reverse engineer that and speak it into existence. And that's where I do believe that we're headed, in my humble opinion.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. So well said. There's a recent poll that I put out on all my social media channels, and 95% of people responded that they're struggling to find their health and freedom community in person. And don't get me wrong, these platforms, these devices that you're listening to or watching this podcast on right now are great for helping to disseminate information, helping us, find like-minded people to validate us, but they are not a replacement for real in-person community. At the core of our new community platform is a powerful, easy-to-use map helping you to instantly connect with like-hearted, like-minded community, including men and women, farms, schools, practitioners of all types, and other businesses near you. The platform also includes groups, social functions, messaging, and Platinum members also get access to our content library with footage from all of our in-person and virtual events like Confluence and the end of COVID, as well as breathwork sessions, Qigong sessions, member Q&As, and also member community calls. So if you'd like to support this podcast and support our mission of helping people to connect hyper-locally in person, and also obviously support yourself in the process, go to the show notes or just go to thewayforward.com/join. And again, the way forward is spelled the way, FWRD.com/join to become a member today. Help us build the way forward for mankind. Good.
Yeah. And another thing, look, here's the thing. I postulate that nature will solve all of our problems. And I know they are trying to market this, that, and the other thing because we're living in predatory capitalistic times. So people are trying to dream up new angles and sell new machines, etc. And so not that they don't have some application, they do. However, if we truly want to heal ourselves as a species, as an individual human being, then all the natural approach can give you exactly what you need. I'm living proof of that. Paul Chek's living proof of it. Many of our colleagues are living proof of it. The people that have regenerative farms, they're getting back to basics, nature, etc. They're selling the TRT and the hormone replacement to unassuming people because they're tired, they're burnt out, they're chasing the almighty dollar that they keep injecting inflation into it. It's all fake and phony. And we're chasing after this American dream and or aesthetic, right? Who are we trying to compete with as elders? Are we trying to compete with in my era, the skinny Vogue woman? Now they're justifying dysfunction with putting fat people in fashion campaigns.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's insane.
Fat, sick, and nearly dead, and all of a sudden we're normalizing dysfunction, right? And so, but to everyone else that wants to be thin or not fat, etc., they're giving them Ozempic. And what are we seeing with the problems with this? Ozzy Osbourne's wife, Sharon, she looks like a walking skeleton, right? And
people going blind, people having neurological issues.
And gut microbiome dysfunction through the roof. I mean, so this is what we get with drugs. What I have my clients do whenever I work with them, are you on medical drugs? Yes. Okay, go to the drug manufacturing website and download the side effects and bring them to our first meeting with the assessment. And so lo and behold, most of the problems that they're coming to me for are in their drugs. And so I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not here to treat, mitigate, or diagnose any kind of medical problem. However, I am here to tell you, you can live without drugs. You can live without synthetic exogenous hormones. You can live without TRT. Look, Dorian Yates, who endorsed my Ripped at 50 book, he was 6-time Mr. Olympia. I think Arnold was 6 as well, 6 or 7. Anyways, Dorian Yates injected all sorts he was a human freak. He was bigger than Arnold. He was massive. He got all into yoga and ayahuasca and got off all those drugs. It can be done, even at the high drug level. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. And if you're exhausted already and you think testosterone's going to boost you or whatever, like, what are you eating? What time are you getting to bed? There is always natural things that you can do. However, most people are all wrapped up in the modern day society. They're scrolling without the blue light blockers. They're not getting morning sun. They're not moving their body. They're eating garbage, plastic, microwave, day glow crap. And they're wondering what's wrong with them, that they need to supplement their diet with TRT. You're not in a TRT deficit.
Amen.
And then you've got all these marketers, not just the biohackers, but you've got the Grant Cardones, which is connected to Gary Brecka, which is just another marketing bullshit, right? These people are out there marketing drugs, this biohacking, red light therapy, oxygen machines. It's just more money grab, if you will. You don't need any of that fucking shit at all. Get the sunlight to the nth degree. Eat clean food to the nth degree. Get good sleep to the nth degree. Go dig down to bedrock for those, and all your other issues vaporize. I'm living proof for that. Clean out your body of pesticides. Clean out your body of fungus and parasites a couple of times a year. Do a fast. I've been fasting for 35 years. It is completely applicable. The Hunzas, who lived very high elevations, would run out of food up at those high elevations for years. They're some of the most lived long people of planet Earth. Basic fundamental natural principles will heal the human body. You don't need to don't die like Brian Johnson and his scam now, because all these guys are businessmen first. They're not health people first. They're businessmen first, and they're going out. Business in today's world, business used to be defined by solving a problem, right? Now it's coming up with a scam. And so I just think, there's a lot of bullshit out there, and people, they have a hard time, trying to understand what's authentic and what's not. And so authenticity has a certain ring to it. The truth has a ring to it. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's being authentic, it resonates. It has a certain level of coherence. Just look at half the stuff that's being marketed by those people I just said, like Gary Brecka, the Dave Asprey. Like, I don't want to be those guys.
Amen.
I want to be my motherfucking self. And that's what I recommend everybody else do, because they are a gift from God. People are looking for a miracle, and they're walking around in one.
Amen.
If everyone would just be themselves, be authentic, the world would be a completely different scenario. And if everyone was just themselves authentically, you're going to need your health to do that. And it's not going to come from a syringe. It's going to come from sunlight. It's going to come from breath and breathing mechanics. It's going to come from biomechanics. Your posture, hunched over on a dopamine machine, scrolling like that, that is aging. Yeah. This is depression, right? Correct that posture. Move up. Get your mind right. Get that psychology right. Wean yourself off of the propaganda as much as possible. And the world is our oyster. Polish that pearl.
Amen.
Amen.
Man.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. This is church, baby. Woo. That was good. Yeah, and it's not to say, and you already referenced this before, or spoke on this before, but I just want to clarify. Like, again, we're sitting in here wearing raw optics. We, like, you talked about a red light thing. Like,
we're sitting in air conditioning.
Yeah. Like, I have a few of these devices in my home. Like, I have an ozone machine, and I have some other things like this. But the thing with those, that I'll speak for myself here, and I'd love to hear just like your take on, again, these devices, just to clarify too, is that if I find myself turning to those things prior to doing the natural free things that I can do consistently on a daily basis, I've lost the plot. I'm off. These things are not a replacement for nature. Maybe they can help give you a little bit of an additional boost, especially like if you're spending an inordinate amount of time or an extended amount of time amongst man-made environments, these things can be helpful tools to help maybe bring you back into a little bit of balance. But, huge underline, but, bolded letters, they are not a replacement, nor do they supersede to any fucking degree by any stretch of the imagination what you can get in nature consistently.
Well, and I postulate.
Do you disagree with any of that, by the way?
No.
Okay.
Nature solves all of our problems. Yeah. Get back to nature as many facets as possible is what Troy Casey's Certified Health Nut is all about.
Also, like, do you agree that like that's when those things can be useful?
Yes, there is use.
Yeah.
All things have use in the world, including the military industrial complex, which I postulate is a catalyst to awaken us. It's the Darth Vader that Luke Skywalker has to deal with. We are getting back to soul nature, knowing that we all have the essence of God inside of us. We're all part of the drop in the ocean of God. And so I forget what were the train of thought that we were just on though?
Train of thought. So I was talking about like how these devices are not a replacement for nature and like they do not supersede nature.
Yeah. So my whole take on this is, first of all, most of the synthetic plastic crap from China we don't need, right? And if we didn't have to go out and make these fake magical pieces of paper, who the fuck would be doing all this bullshit anyways? None of us.
Right.
I'm out here in Texas, right? I live at the edge of Scottsdale, and it's a 4-mile ride to the gym every day. I don't get in my car very often. I did that when I was living in Los Angeles. I purposely lived in a walk city. I purposely live where I don't have to drive. Dude, this whole Austin thing and living outside of Austin and driving in or driving on these long roads with red lights and these dual lane things, like, oh no, man, I'm not driving 45 minutes both ways to go nowhere, baby. I'm not sitting in my car. Just imagine if we all didn't have to go to work for that factory that's selling more plastic crap from China. I know people that are conscious already that can't stop buying stuff from Amazon because they just need this and they just need that. You asked me what I travel with, and I struggled to find like how many things I was traveling with. My sleeping bag, and my pillow, and
your herbs.
I have a cooler, and I have some herbs, and like that. That's about it. I don't need much stuff. I have stuff because people send me stuff, and Matt sends me these glasses and stuff like that, and I do like nice adornments. Most of my clothes I find from thrift stores or consignment stores in wealthy areas that have the tags still in them.
Do you know what Australians call their thrift stores?
No.
Op shops, because it's an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that better? Like, the moment I heard that, I was like, I'm calling them op shops from now on.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we've already proved the fact that I like to be naked anyhow.
Yeah. And
I would prefer to be naked, swinging my big dick around like I already do, baby. Wow. So
this is not a kid-friendly episode. Do not show this to your kids.
So yeah, I mean, I postulate that we don't need, that's what the whole image I have of myself walking through the woods naked with a stick, right? And so I even, on some of my men's groups, I'll have the men take off their shoes. They think they're going to come in for, some David Goggins stuff, some Jocko Willink, like SEAL training and stuff like that. All right, motherfuckers, we're going for a gentle walk through the desert. Okay, yep. Okay, take off your shoes and mum's the word. You can't say a word to anybody or anything, and we're going. And, your mom's not here and I'm not the police, so police yourself. If you need to put on your shoes, go ahead. But of course, the men that are used to doing that Navy SEAL training and stuff, they're like, oh, I'm not going to put on my shoes. And then boom, and those rocks and the little prickly things, and that Phoenix,
Oh my God, the heat.
those rocks are tough too, dude.
Yeah.
They're pokey.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that'll give you a run for your money. But yeah, what do you think we used to do?
Right.
I'm friends with Peter Bigfoot, who's an herbalist in the Superstition Mountains, and he walked from the 17, this is like 20, 30 years ago, to the Superstition Mountains, which took him 15 days in 115 degree weather and survived. And so we can do that.
Yeah. It's wild, just like on foot health in general, though. I've been exploring this because, like I said, I play pickup basketball, and I wear Earth Runners pretty much all the time, except for sometimes when I'm in studio. Because I used to be a sneakerhead, dude. I grew up as a basketball player. My dad was a college basketball coach, so like I love sneakers, so I wear them in studio on camera sometimes. Mm-hmm. But in my day-to-day life, I literally wear these 24/7, like 24/7. Mm-hmm. And the more I wear these, the more I realize like how much I've neglected my feet, even when it comes to training. And in addition to that, when I put on normal shoes again,
foot prisons,
dude, it fucking hurts so bad. So bad. And I just think we in general have weak feet. Do you do anything specific to strengthen your feet, or are you just like walking barefoot as much as you can?
Yeah, I mean, I live in the city, so you can only walk barefoot, so much.
But you're wearing like even the shoes that you brought in today, those have a wide toe box and they look like super low to the ground. They're barefoot-ish.
Yeah, these guys just sent me that.
And what brand is that?
These are Vivo Barefoot.
Oh, Vivo Barefoot.
And
cool.
So big shout out to them. Thank you. I love them. They're nice fabric on the top. Because the other thing is the plastic. I also wear Vibram, five fingers, but I prefer the hemp. I have wool, hemp, and leather. So I only wear the natural fibers. Captain Informer, he's got like 20 pairs. He'll wear the plastics and everything. If I wear the plastic ones, I got to wear some socks. But the Earth Runners are my favorite footwear because my feet breathe. And if it's cold in the winter, I can just throw on some socks.
Yep.
But I live in Arizona, so I don't really even throw on socks for the most part. And I am a sneaker pimp. I consider myself a sneaker pimp. And so I got some Gucci shoes. I got some Magnus Walker SB Nikes.
Hell yeah!
I got a couple of SB Nike collectibles that my friends have given me. It's it's a treat to be in the fashion industry. I've got some good connections, and so I have some good sneakers. But every time winter comes around, I got to throw on socks and sneakers. It just chokes my feet off.
Right.
I'm just like. Maybe when it's cold on my electric bikes and I have sneakers on, it's okay. But other than that, it's like, it's too much, especially after not wearing them for years and years and years. So Earth Runners would be my favorite, and Free the Foot, I think, is a good idea.
Yeah. There's another brand, if you do like sneakers, and this is not a plug, I don't get sponsored by them or anything like that. This is not a paid ad. But there's this brand that I found, and I'm pretty pissed because they don't make size 13, and that's what I wear. But they're called Brambus, and they're like they look like high-end Italian design sneakers, but they have a wide toe box. They look so dope. So, what size do you wear?
I'll have to check them out.
Check them out and let me know how you feel about them. Because
wide toe box, I'm a 9. Yeah. Everybody else, I'm like a 9.5.
Okay, yeah, they definitely make your size. They just don't make up to size 13. I have like fucking massive, like caveman feet. Oh, okay, there's a couple things I want to hit on and to close this up. This question, I've been waiting to ask you this forever. You've done a lot of crazy health shit. Like I've seen you do like ball slapping. Obviously, you like sun your perineum. You're big on that. I
think drinking ayahuasca in the Amazon with the Shipipo is more powerful than that.
For sure. Okay,
but yeah.
What the question is though? What is the most wild thing you've done when it comes to your health, or attempted or tried? Big question where you're taking 35 years of distillation here. So
yeah. So I would say classical Chinese medicine, which predates TCM. And I saw this Chinese guy speak on it one time. When they brought in the clinics to teach people to do acupuncture and stuff, that's when it got a little bit more commercialized and more allopathic element. Classical Chinese medicine, or when we were out in the world, I teach, this is what I teach my children. This is what I teach everybody I know. Be your own doctor. Like look in the mirror, look in the toilet bowl. How do I feel? How do I look? What am I eating? What time am I going to bed? We're wired to the celestial realm. Like understanding all those basics, you're mostly water. It's a good idea to get some pure water. So going back to these basics, I think is, one of the most important things that anyone has to do.
Amen.
It's not rocket science. You don't need to be a biohacker.
Still, though, the craziest, like most wild thing you've ever tried, attempted, done.
I would say PITA.
What is that?
PITA is where they slap the meridians.
Oh,
the classic Chinese medicine.
To where you get a bruise, right?
Yeah. So if you do your own hand, you got to do it for 10 minutes. If somebody does it, they have silicone hands, and I've done it. I did it on Sky Cowens did a mini documentary on me, A Day in the Life of Certified Health Nut. It's on YouTube, on her YouTube channel. And so I was going to be on camera, and she spent a whole day with me. And so my friend, Dr. Harhari Khalsa, has a healing center on Robertson in Los Angeles. And he was friends with Ian Clark, who does activation products. And Ian cured himself of leukemia when he's in his 40s. I think he's approaching 70 now.
That's a gray-haired, curly-haired guy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. He's on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I got 10.5 million views because he did it
I saw that.
Yeah. And so Ian learned about this methodology, and this was 6 or 7 years ago, turned Dr. Harhari onto it. And Dr. Harhari's a weirdo, and he offers all sorts of interesting stuff, alternative treatments to people. And so one of my friends did it, and she had knee pain from doing CrossFit. And she said it was the only thing that helped her. And so Sky said she was doing a documentary on me. And so I called him up, and we scheduled it in there. And so I did 6 points. So back of the knees, inside of the thighs. So for 5 minutes, and it hurts, but it brings all the blood to the corpuscles, and it releases and puts everything into circulation. And so PITA is probably the most intense thing that I've ever done. Ayahuasca, ibogaine, probably the most powerful plant medicines. Ayahuasca in the Amazon rainforest, deep inside the jungle. I think that's a powerful experience, a very primordial experience. And I've worked with Maori healers for the past 25 years. I've made quite a few videos on them. They're known as the bone crushers. They don't use plant medicine. They use the human body, and where we store all of our trauma in, which is inside the fascia and the musculature. And they'll step on the nerve centers of the body, again, inside of the thighs, back of the calves, where we hold ancestral trauma. And I've seen
So
miracles.
is it all like body manipulation techniques that they're doing essentially?
Yep. You could call it that. Massage, you could call it that. Miri, Romi is what they call it down there. And I've witnessed miracles, and I've had my own miracles with them. And that was a big part of my awakening. So Vipassana meditation goes up there as well. Ayahuasca in the Amazon, Maori healers.
Did you actually go to New Zealand for that?
No, they would come through Topanga every year.
Oh, that's cool. That's amazing.
Oh, multiple times per year. And I witnessed, real wealthy people trying to have children that had fertility issues. And they would work with the Maori, and children would come.
Wow.
In fact, the people that sponsored them in Topanga Canyon, Paul Farah and Melissa, their children are 22 now. So back before they had children, they were hosting them. And so, and they were indebted to them for life. So they hosted them, and so, and that, that's a pretty powerful dedication to natural medicine. Mm-hmm. Big shout out to Paul Farah and Melissa. Dude, a bunch of rich people in LA just like, yeah, let anybody from Los Angeles come and get healing with the Maori for weeks on end, for years on end.
Wow.
And they had 5 acres up on the top of the hill in Topanga. They're real estate moguls. So they had the dopest property there, and they had 3 houses, And I would watch the Maoris. Sometimes they'd come 7 deep, stepping on people, sitting on them, singing songs and stuff. They're funny, right? And I got a great video up on my YouTube channel. I shot in 2008 on them, all up in Topanga. And I witnessed miracles with them. And that's where, I get the background for indigenous wisdom, working with indigenous healers, whether they're people in the Amazon, the Lakota and the sweat lodges up here in North America, or the Maori. And, I don't claim any affiliation except for my friends, the Maori. I've been working with for 25 years. They're badass motherfuckers. They love me. I love them. There isn't any of that appropriation or any, white privilege. There's none of that fucking bullshit.
I don't think any of those.
We're straight up homies.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
exactly,
saying?
exactly.
But people have tried to big time me for that before, especially when I moved to Sedona. These guys, I think they were funded by George Soros, but they rolled up on me with masks first thing in the morning. I'm like, you guys going to rob the place? An hour later, they come back. I'm live on Instagram and they're filming me. They're like, "You're white privilege, and we're Native Americans." They're all metrosexual, tattoos, steroids, skinny jeans. They changed their outfit from 7 a.m. in the morning at the coffee bar to went back to the hotel, and they're like, "We're Native Americans, and you're white privilege, and you've offended us." And I was like, "Dude, I'm Troy Casey, Amazon Maoris," and like, "Bro, I'm cool." And they're like, "Nuh-uh," And this is right in the middle of COVID. And back then, I was like, I was trying to be cool with people. No more, baby. You don't like me? Go fuck yourself. I don't care. I don't care who you fucking think you are. But I put up with it, for a second, because I come from LA and all that DEI stuff was creeping in. But 2020, it reared its ugly head. And I don't care anymore. You're who you are. I'm who I am. I love me. You, I don't care. You don't like me? I don't care at all. I don't care what boat you came in on or who you think you are or any of your ego trip. I don't care, right? I'm Irish. You want to talk about enslavement? We were enslaved. Yep. Armenians were enslaved. How come you don't hear about that, huh? That's banned on the internet. That you get censored for saying that stuff. Make sure the editor goes beep when you say that, right? Can't talk about the Armenian genocide. We were saddled up next to Stalin, and he killed 60 million people. Don't talk about that, right? China, Mao Zedong, 60 million people. 20th century. Oh, don't talk about that. No, you talk about another number of people, and then the numbers are even off. Is it this many or was it that many? Right? And then if you say anything sideways or anything, you're antiseptic.
Yep.
Woo!
Yep.
Look at the psyop in there, baby.
Amen. Amen. It's funny because I'm Serbian. I'm part Serbian. Serbian comes like the term Slavic.
Yep.
Originally is derived from slave because Serbs and anyone in that region, the Slavic regions, were slaves to the Ottoman Empire. So like anyone can go back in their lineage and easily find where their people were oppressed or enslaved. Like we can play the fucking victim Olympics till the cows come home. Anyone can do that.
Oh, I love that. The victim Olympics, right? I'm for the liberation of all human beings.
Amen.
Right? Do you want to be liberated now or do you want to play the victim? Victim Olympics.
That's what it is, man. It's
the Victim Olympics 2025. They're on the opposite, the odd year. The regular Olympics are on the even year.
Yeah, exactly. 2025 and 2027. There's a lot of people training for it right now.
The Victim Olympics.
Okay.
I believe in you. You are not a victim.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen. Amen. Okay. This last one, I want you to, you didn't necessarily say you wanted to do this, but I want you to do this. So I want you to plug your book.
Oh.
Seriously, like describe what you discuss a little bit. Give us a brief overview of what you talk about in your book, Ripped at 50.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You're 59, so you're about to be 60. You might need to do an updated version.
We do.
Maybe you've learned some things over the last 10 years, and now it's ripped at 60.
I did. It's cock D at 60. if anybody's a hip hop fan out there, I'm going to take a picture in front of a big diesel truck. I've gained 25 pounds since that book. Woo!
Have you really? You've gained 25?
Well, I ripped at 50. I got into my fighting weight. You hear about fighters losing weight to fight. You know, you don't want to be that thin for too long.
Yeah,
I mean, being jacked like that, I mean, you're either a fighter, you're training jujitsu every day, you're in your 20s or teens or something like that. Like,
what was your body fat when you were like, when you first wrote that book or started it?
Ripped at 50, I probably was like 5.
Not sustainable.
7% or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of Hape as well. There's a amino, an enzyme in there that knocks out estrogen. So my veins would pop and everything. It was like,
I don't know if it's because I've done combo too much. I don't know what it is, but Hape for me, man, like, I can't, like, I smoke organic tobacco every so often, but for me, Hape, like, no matter if someone gives me a butterfly, like very gentle, or what's it called? Hummingbird blow.
Yeah.
Or I can't, it makes me sick every single time. It sucks.
Well, not all things are right for all people. The Hape helped me with my black mold exposure. So I had brain fog. We left that house in 2013. I had brain fog and chronic fatigue. And in 2017, somebody turned me on to that. Even all the time I spent in the Amazon. I worked with the Shipipo and I didn't see any Hape down there. Otherwise, I love tobacco. I would have been on it back then. Somebody turned me onto it in 2017. It really helped my brain. And then I'm an all or nothing guy. I'm a great addict. And so, I pretty much don't do Hape anymore. It dries my nose up and stuff. And so, I love it. It's a
powerful medicine that's been used for a long time. I will say that no matter what. Yeah.
But I just, anything that I love too much, it's like that bad girlfriend, you know? And so, Ripped at 50. So I designed it to be written like a novel. It starts out with Tupac Shakur in Milan in 1996 during the men's show. The men's shows, each chapter is one of my 9 pillars of health. They're all fundamental principles, first principles, as they say in physics. You can't have this without that. The body's water. It's a good idea. Body's made 70% water. It's a good idea to get pure water. Food should be pure. Body needs movement. Body needs sleep. Body breathes from the diaphragm. It's a good idea to get the biomechanics. The mind is an embodied process. So it's a good idea to get our thinking on point. So the 9 pillars of health, it has nature, relationships, but the first chapter is legacy. And I tell the story when I was partying and using drugs and alcohol in Milan. I didn't know who I was. There was an undercurrent in the fashion industry, as in all entertainment industries, of the Diddy party. And now, lo and behold, it's completely exposed. I wasn't exposed to it to the point where anyone harassed me. There was just sexual harassment and sexual innuendos everywhere, and gatekeeping. You know, you can't go to Vogue, and it's like, I came to Milan to make money. I came to Milan to do Armani, Versace, etc. And so when the gatekeeping came on, it just gave me a real bad taste in my mouth. And I was there to do good. That's how I got into health and everything. But when the gatekeeping happened, there's drugs and alcohol everywhere. So I was like, fuck it. I just got a case of the fuckets because I didn't know who I was. I was just chasing paper. And so the first chapter is all about the legacy, and written like a novel, so you'll actually consume it. Only 10% of people who actually buy books read them. And so I wrote it to be read. It has the medicine in each chapter.
In the storytelling, essentially.
For the 9 pillars of health. If you want the Bible for health and wellness, health and fitness, Paul Chek's How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy is that. It's going to tell you exactly how to do it. It's not, my book isn't necessarily a how-to. Again, it has all the how-to at the end of each chapter. And so that's my diatribe of how to save the world. I wrote it as a coffee table book. It's a hardcover, beautiful sacred geometry, beautiful fashion photography. My friend shot me in the middle of the desert. He was the #1 male model in the 90s, and so he became a photographer, and he shot me on a $48,000 Leica. he shoots men like he wants to be shot, like a Greek god. And he shot me like that, and I loved it. He did a damn good job. Big shout out to Steve Lyons. And so the book is there for eye candy. At the bare minimum, just looking at the cover should trigger something primal in someone. Sex sells. People want to. Sex is directly related to love and making a family. And I think, as you well know, becoming a father, this is intrinsically a spiritual, journey. And I think when we're younger, the animal magnetism is designed to, let's fuck, baby. Let's drop seed in the ground. Woo! Let's plant that. And so this is the way we're wired, and it's been used against us in Kardashian type consciousness.
Oh yeah.
So I'm only here to flip the life affirmative script over the death script, right? And use the commercial conduits the same way they're being used. Marilyn Monroe and James Dean has been used in Hollywood since the dawn of, media, really. So I'm just using life affirmative principles, but the same thing. This is what a naked, half naked, healthy body looks like. Actually, I did a Miley Cyrus video, I think, just before I did there, and they went shopping on Hollywood Boulevard, and they bought a bunch of interesting American flag bikinis, and so I'm wearing that on the cover of my book. So I'd be naked if I had it my way. You'd be looking at my wiener, but we're in commercial world. So I got an American flag bikini standing on top of a Swiss ball, which is legacy that shows homage to Paul Chek's legacy.
If you update the cover for 60, what are you going to add to that?
Cock D at 60.
AR-15, maybe in front of a truck. Like, what do you add to the cover if you do another photo shoot?
Well, the only thing that came to me, because I'm a hip hop head, and so Cock D.
I grew up on a Tribe Called Quest, by the way. Remember, my dad was
awesome.
a college basketball coach. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So Cock D, diesel truck.
Yeah.
That just meant that you were big as shit back in the hip hop world in the early 90s, late 80s. So Cock Diesel. Diesel truck is what comes to me. I'm a great creative designer, art director, and so that's what comes to me right now. Now, the sacred geometry and the vision I had for my book came to me when I was like 49.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't shoot that cover till I was 53. And the cover exceeded my expectations. And so I'm not the biggest spiritual woo-woo guy, although I'm completely around it all the time. And people are like, well, you got to set your intention. And the few times I've set my intention or envisioned something, I mean, it exceeds my expectation. The first time I went to the Amazon, somebody told me, like, set your intention before you set foot in Peru. And I was on the airplane. I was like, oh, I forgot to set my intention. So I closed my eyes, did a little meditation, prayer. And I was like, I want to connect. I want to open my heart, because girls would always tell me, you need to open up your heart. I had a little bit of trauma when I was younger or whatever. And so you need to open up your heart. So I was like, okay, I'm going to open up my heart. And then the divine feminine was a lot of talk in the spiritual world in LA at the time. And I was like, and connect with the divine feminine in all of its facets. So the Amazon was Mother Earth, baby, like big time, totally enveloped. Ayahuasca, like grandmother. What's wrong, honey? Get that shit out, baby. It's all good. It's in your tummy. Just puke it out. Right?
Yeah.
And then I met some girls down there, and had some kissy face with them. But I saw the children of the Amazon. And because we got the milk carton kids up here, no, people don't let you play with their children. I don't have cousins and nieces and stuff like that. I'm looking into the eyes of a child in the Amazon rainforest, 2 years old, 3 years, 4 years old. The beauty, the innocent. Oh my God, I got to have one of these. And so I came home and I was like, where can I find a woman that I can have children with? And so it brings tears to my eyes now. And I had a vision of the spirit of my daughter down there. She's 14 now. Athena Grace Casey. This is a powerful, powerful human being. She hasn't even fully come online yet. And so I had, those visions and that experience. So I definitely opened up my heart and connected with the divine feminine in as many facets as possible. I got everything I bargained for. So I think the cover for Cock D at 60 is going to be awesome. No steroids necessary.
Man, this has been epic, dude. Thank you so much for sitting with me.
Thanks for having me, bro. I love you, and I love seeing you online. It's the first time we met in person, but yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Is there anything else you want to end with? Any shout out to any of the stuff you're working on? That's it.
Yeah, shout out to my team, Certified Health Nut, certifiedhealthnut.com. They hold it down. They're out there serving my clients, helping my community. Certified Health Nut. I got a great community online. I got thousands of people on there. Feel free to, anybody needs to get healthy and they want some of this energy, send them over there. Young people, it's cheap. It's like $27 a month. Big shout out to all the people like yourself, Paul Check, Cal Callahan. We were just at his house. Luke Story, Mickey Willis, all the great people that are doing things to make this world come online. JP Sears, big shout out to him. He lives here as well. Brent Pella, I know, is here. I've worked with him. And big shout out to all the people that are grounding New Earth, or bringing mankind back to the earth and the spiritual element that it is and the gift that it is to live here.
Boom. Beautiful. Thank you, Troy.
Yeah, man.